2nd, Groundhog Day, 2026. I will declare that a quorum is present and will officially call this meeting to order. At this time, I would ask everybody to stand, and I'll ask Councilman Rosso to lead us in both the pledge and the prayer.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for another time to come together. We ask you to bless this meeting. Do what you do, Lord. We ask you to bless the people out in cyberspace, bless the council, city manager, mayor, lawyer, and all the residents that's in here today. We thank you, Lord, for being so good to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Next on the agenda is matters subsequent to posting. Do we have anything tonight?
No, sir.
We do not. Then we will move on to audience participation. First one on the list is Mr. Julian. We ain't seen you in a long time, so we're gonna get you up here quick. And if you notice, we got a nice little clock back here.
Yes, I know. I don't have too many copies, just share with another. And that one gonna be for you. Keep it, don't give it to another. Okay, you can start with the time. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julian Arevalo, 711 West 10th Street. And I was here 3 years and a half, and some of you was here, some not. But I remember we had the same problem 3 years and a half, and we still have the same problem. The sewer line, the water is coming out from the main hose mixed with rainwater and something else. And it's a health hazard right there. Last time on the pictures, a little poo is coming out on the picture. On these pictures, it's not. But anyway, we gotta fix it. I live close where is the lifting pump number 5. And they covered 300 houses plus apartments, probably 100 more service right there. And it's only 2 pumps, and those 2 pumps, almost every 2-3 weeks, they are broke. Last time with the water, one of them was broke for a few times, and another one broke on those days. We didn't have pumps right there. And they ran a temporary pump. Now is the one we have. But few weeks ago, you say you pay for another pump somewhere else, a lifting pump, probably where is no customer there. I'm not sure where it was. But I guess we gotta fix first the one we have and working 100%. Like that one, they had 2 pumps. Make sure the 2 pumps are working. One is broke, you had another one. But whenever one is broke and you don't fix it, and whenever broke another one, you don't have nothing. And the customers gonna pay for. And then the water is coming out to the streets, and it's no good. You remember last time I say something happened on Lake Jackson, a little kid passed away from bacteria from that kind of water. I don't want it to happen right here. I love this city, and I don't want something close to me pass away for something we don't take care. It's a way to fix it. You can see the print right there is the way how suppose the sewer line is running on the system. And you can see the lifting pumps, they have a main, the black lines is the main line. And suppose there is connected from 2 different main lines. That's what I need to talk with somebody in Veolia, if I'm right or I'm wrong. But it's too much water for one lifting pump, and gotta be too old, that pump. Because like I say, almost every month is broke, almost every month. And I hope this time, don't be like last time I come over here just to waste my time. Because after 3 years and a half, they invest. On that time they say, oh, we got 10 million. You remember that? But they put it in the wrong place. They didn't find out the right place to put the 10 millions. Yeah, we have a lot of new lines, but the problem is still there. The new line, they didn't fix the problem. That's why you had to put the money on the right place. If not, later on, you had to take the money from somewhere else to fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Manning Rollerson.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you guys for being here and taking our comments, but I definitely want to find out about permit number WQ00442900, which is the water permit to increase the dumping in the Brazos River that we've been fighting for the last few years, Better Missouri, Freeport Haven, about increasing the dumping in the Brazos River. When 14 years they was doing an investigation of the heavy materials and particles that they was dumping in the river, they had overexceeded it then. Well, they came up with the meeting, the senator said meets all criteria. Well, I asked for a public hearing because it don't meet the criteria, because we have a sickness problem in this city of Freeport, we have a disease rate in Freeport, and we have a climate issue in Freeport. And at the end of the day, the deaths prove that they're not doing a proper job. Dow will not get this permit as long as I'm fighting against it. Dow will not get no more Freeport and no more our tax dollars. That's plain and simple. Freeport suffered 57 years. We paid more tax bonds than any city in this county. We have shown no growth in 57 years on investments in Freeport for every industry in this community. And at the end of the day, enough is enough. It's Freeport first. That's the way it's supposed to be. No citizen's supposed to support a $1 trillion company by corporate welfare, which is tax abatements. It's corporate welfare. You don't want to give welfare to the poor children and poor women in this community, but you'll give $1 million companies corporate welfare, which is called tax abatements. We need to stop that. Freeport invaded so long to look at our city. City Hall is across town. We paying $25,000 a month for a building when we own that building down there that no money was invested into in 30 years. So where's the money going? We see stuff like lawsuits with our last city manager and our elected officials protecting them. I don't agree with that. You work for us. And when they're caught in any kind of misdoing against the people, they gotta go without the severance packages because it's hurting us. Everybody, every city around here does not pay severance package to leave the city when you get caught up in any kind of crime. But Freeport do. Freeport pay incentives just to commit crimes against the city. And that has to stop. And I'd like to thank the detective of Freeport for taking care of the city manager, for going to look after them old people, that 94-year-old man in bed bugs. Instead of y'all putting the money into the industry, how about putting some money in these apartment complexes where it'd be safe living for the people? Our money going in the wrong place. And I could truly say, if I win the seat for Ward A, it's Freeport only, Freeport first. And that I can promise you. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Rosen. We might have this thing figured out. Next, we have Miss Melanie Oldham.
Hi, I'm Melanie Oldham. I live at 531 West Brazos, Ward A, and I'm here not to talk to an agenda item, but I saw an executive session. You're all going to talk about the industrial district agreements, and that all kind of goes along with a recent Brazoria County tax abatement study that came out, and it showed that the last 10 years, the city of Freeport has given out a lot of big IDAs, and that it's, just think of all we could have had for the city if we hadn't given away as much as we had the last 10 years. But also I know 10 years ago we had different leadership. We had an older attorney, we had people I don't think were prepared to go up against the Dow and the BASF attorneys. And it's so important because our IDAs, as you know, pay for over a third of our budget. And I think there's ways that we could bring in more revenue. You know, of course, we know the sales tax, the property tax, but there's other ways too, using the assets we have, like the old Brazos River. And anyway, I think you all need to talk about a solid team. You know, I know everybody would maybe like to participate, but it's got to be the right people. And I've been very impressed with our new city manager. You get the right attorney that they specialize in this, because we need to quit, you know, we need to have a fair balance where the city gets the taxes that they deserve. And then also, I got to go see my son, Andy, in Nashville, which I hadn't seen him in a while. And he told me, he says, Mom, I actually watch your city council meetings. And he says, I'm glad that you and the public get up there and speak. But he said, does anybody in the city leadership get along or try to do things positive for the city? Does any of the community, if they're going to gripe, help come up with solutions? And I said, well, the thing is, everybody for years now, I've heard all the negative things about Freeport, but behind the scenes, there's been so much positive. You know, like we have a brand new city manager who this time is an experienced city manager who is not learning on the job. She's doing a great job. Things like our wastewater treatment plant that I didn't think would ever get repaired is almost there. We got to start bringing forward the positive things. We're working on improving things for our youth here. And so I just like to say, you know, everybody's got to put away their personalities, their differences, and come together, because there's a lot of positive things happening in Freeport. And don't just gripe, come up with solutions.
Thank you, Ms. Oldham. All right, this one, I apologize. I'm not sure if it's Jill or Jeff. It must be Jill.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Jill Friedman. I live in 229 Laurel Street in Lake Jackson, but I own some property here in Freeport. And that's basically what I'm here to talk to. It's not on the agenda, but it's been on my mind for quite a long time now. I work offshore. I've been sailing. I moved here to go to school to do that. And I spend months out of town at sea, out of the country. I think it was last summer, or maybe the summer before, I got home and I got in my mail this notice about this new property management code, International Property Management Code, and I was very upset. First of all, where they say that we were supposed to comply with it by January of 2023, but the dates on my mail that I got it was actually not until August of 2024. So one thing I would like to say is I wish that you would at least think it's important enough to send a notice in the water bill about something that we could be fined such a huge amount of money for. The only notice I got was when I got this in the mail. And I have a fourplex, I have a fiveplex. And a lot of the things in this code are really outrageous for somebody with a small apartment complex like me to have to pay for. For instance, dumpsters. I have a fourplex. I have 2 people living in there. I don't need a great big garbage dumpster. I have two garbage cans that the city gives me, and that's more than enough for the garbage. There's like dozens and dozens of things in this code that are the same. Things like electronic locks. I don't want or need electronic locks on my buildings, and neither do my tenants. This purpose here says it's to ensure safe, sanitary, and suitable living environments to protect and secure the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. I really would like to know from you people, how in the heck does me telling you who's in my building every month do any of that for anybody? All it does is cost me a lot of time and aggravation, and I really don't feel like I should have to report to the city or anybody else who's in my building. I mean, that's like if I had roommates in my house that I had to tell you I have my cousins staying here for the next couple of months, every month, tell you that. And if I don't, I'm gonna get fined. I mean, that's just, I really would like to have some redo of this code, because I don't believe that anybody in Freeport, much less the United States, had anything to say about this International Property Management Code. I believe it came straight from the European Union, and we had nothing much to say about it. I certainly didn't get any notice, and I don't know anybody that did. I'm trying to find out other apartment owners in Freeport to get together and push back on this, because I really don't think it's good for Freeport or apartment tenants or apartment owners. I don't mind people coming and saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna check and make sure that it's livable, that it's in decent condition, but to have to report to you every month that I have somebody living there and somebody living there and somebody living there, that's just not, I don't see what good it's doing except a major aggravation to people. So that's pretty much all I need to say right now. I have a long list, but I've run out of time, so thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Mr. Sam Reyna.
Mayor, Council, good evening.
Good
My-
evening, sir.
My name is Sam Reyna, and I reside at 2002 North Avenue G. The facts article dated Thursday, January the 22nd, a proposal to remove 2 members, Tommy Pearson and Landis Adams, from the Board of Adjustment. Councilman Matamoros said his concern was compliance with city procedures, not the individuals involved. And I agree with Councilman Matamoros, we need to abide by the city charter's ordinances. I know Tom Pearson. He will be an excellent member on the Board of Adjustment. He is already involved with city affairs and attends the majority of council meetings. But his best qualification, he's a citizen of Freeport. Councilman Peña said, we've had the hardest problem filling these boards. Why do we want to limit the pool of good people willing to serve? That's not the problem. We have no lack of volunteers. The problem is people are volunteered to serve, but this council is not approving appointments of applicants, especially Freeport residents. Prime example, Ms. Margaret Bagman and Mr. Landis Adams submitted applications to be members of the Board of Adjustments. Ms. Bagman is already an alternate on the board, attends all meetings, so she has the experience, but most important, she's a citizen of Freeport. Whereas Landis Adams does not have the qualifications needed to be a member of the Board of Adjustment. He's not a citizen of Freeport. He's from Bailey's Prairie or Bonnie or somewhere else. He's not a citizen of Freeport. Yet, Yet this council voted to appoint Landis Adams to the Board of Adjustments instead of a Freeport resident, Margaret Bagman. That appointment smells. Councilman Peña said, "We've had the hardest problem filling these boards." Then he contradicts that statement by trying to remove several board members. Mr. Peña tried to get me removed from the Charters Commission using false allegations. Mr. Peña also tried to remove Nicolasa Mireles, again, also false allegations. Nicole and I have volunteered to serve our community with honor. We volunteer our time because we love our city. And after Jeff Peña leaves office in May, you'll notice more citizens will volunteer to serve on the boards. 90 more days and this ordeal will be over. Citizens will be allowed to volunteer and serve on any committee or commission as long as you're a citizen of Freeport. That requirement will be on the ballot in May. So all citizens listening, come May, go and vote for the ordinance requirement. If you want to volunteer to serve on boards, you need to be citizens of Freeport. Don't exactly know how it will be worded on the ballot, but as soon as it is posted, I will notify you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Next, we have Mr. Thomas Cool.
Good evening, City Council.
Good evening.
All right, I had to change my deal around now that I see that I'm on the agenda for what I want. Okay, you already know that Pecan Street and 4th Street, you acknowledge is dangerous. All these things you are doing, even up to last week, you're making the lights blink 24 hours a day. Really need it there, really need it there. You know, I really kind of screwed up my speech here, but I mean, I got the FOIA reports, I got the testimonies from public workers, sergeant, a corporal, public works worker, employee, from the residents there. All we're asking, we're tax-paying citizens, we're asking for our safety, for our peace of mind there, having to go pick up our kids from one of the local schools down the blocks, because y'all know there's 3 of them right there. And we want a peace of mind, even for the people, because they use 4th Street to go to work to either the Port of Freeport, LNG, or maybe on beyond to Jones Creek. That 4th Street's used a lot. And then speeders there, that's what makes them accidents so bad, because then speeders speeding there. So for right now, I'm gonna cut this short and let's see what this voting does. We pray that y'all vote this in. We really do. And it'll give people a lot of peace of mind, because you know what? I'm telling the truth, when people are scared of that intersection, some people don't even drive near it. I got kids that live right down the road and grandkids, and I know everybody else have the same thing over there. We're asking that y'all do the right thing and vote this in. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Cool. I don't know what I did. There we go. Now we got it back to the time. Yep, I'm thinking about them flashing lights out there. All right, next we have proclamations, presentations, and updates. Dr. Kelly, would you like to take these? I say that right when she was fixing to get a drink of water.
I think Chief Howell has the presentation.
Chief Howell?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So
Good
the
evening.
the first item for presentation is regarding the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Annual Racial Profiling Report. So it is a requirement to present that to your governing body, in addition to have that submitted to TCOL, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. We have already submitted our report. It is due by March 1st of each year, but I've included a copy of the report and some statistical data as well. What's only required is just to provide council with our current year statistical data, but I think it's important for y'all to be able to see the history over the past few years. And so, as what we've done before in the past, we've provided not only this year's current data, but the previous 3 years' data as well for y'all to be able to compare to. So just wanted to see if there were any questions over anything.
I had a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I saw the report and, small font, and I wear glasses, and I'm just kind of curious, what are the major takeaways that the public should be gleaning from this, feeling happier or more safe and secure about the Freeport Police Department? How are we performing compared to the last 3 years? Are we improving? Is crime on the rise? Does that nasty reputation that was here 10 years ago still persist, that this is just some crime-infested city? Or do we have low crime and low racial profiling and all the negative types of categorizations that are usually appointed or given to police departments when people are trying to badmouth police departments? So I'm just kind of curious, on the bad news, what's the real bad news? Be honest. And on the good news, how awesome is the Freeport Police Department?
Well, my first thing is I'm definitely going to say the Freeport Police Department's very awesome. But so this is nothing to do with crime data. This is just specifically regarding the traffic data.
Okay.
So as far as the actual crime data, this has nothing, in comparison on that. So this is as far as all the traffic contacts that officers have had. And so that's what the racial profiling law requires, is anytime a traffic stop is made, the officer is required to log whether it was a warning, whether it was a citation, the race of that individual, if they knew the race of that individual prior to the stop or not until contact of the stop, and then what was the result of that? Was there any searches performed, contraband located, was there any arrest made, was there any use of force? And so that's the total data that's collected, but again, it's just specific to traffic contacts.
I see. Well, let me ask, what would be some of the more serious crimes on the traffic report that might raise an eyebrow? Like, how many times in the last year compared to the last 3 years were any of our officers required to draw their weapons? Is that in the report?
So no, that would not be in this report. That will actually be in an upcoming report that y'all will get at this next council meeting. But this is, again, just specific to the citations and warnings issued.
And so there was one category you just mentioned here, something about the criminal element of how many arrests are done compared to years past based on the...
It's just arrest off of a traffic stop. So let's say I stop you for speeding, for example, and let's say you have a warrant for your arrest for speeding before.
Right.
So at that point, it's logged whether you got a warning or you got a citation, whether an arrest was or wasn't made, and then what that arrest resulted of. Or let's say we stopped you and we detected the odor of burnt marijuana, which that then gives probable cause to perform a search on the vehicle. And so let's say then the officer stops you for speeding but detects the odor of burnt marijuana, then proceeds on a probable cause search, and that search results in a pound of marijuana and a half a gram of cocaine.
Right.
Again, that comes into the additional arrest other than just subject to the traffic contact. But everything results from the beginning of that traffic stop.
So in terms of those types of stops and the arrests, have there been any that have, I guess, maybe caught your eye over the last year that were pretty pronounced, high profile, very delicate situations that put the city in some kind of compromise in our legal liability position?
No, sir. When I came here in '22, so this opens up every year for TCOL January 1st, and you have January and February to submit that report. So when I came at the end of '22, come January, I had to complete this report. I actually started then pulling the previous 3 years of statistical data, because again, like I said, I think it's good for y'all to have a comparison.
Absolutely.
So even comparing from then up until now, there has not been anything, the trends have been pretty consistent. I mean, just within, you can look at the graphs even provided, that they're all close within, you know, the same percentage amount. There's nothing that's a drastic extreme, you know, from one year to another.
So the statistics are staying steady and flat? They're not declining?
So as far as the races?
You know, yeah.
I mean,
That's a good category.
I wouldn't say, but I mean, you look for, let me get my reading glasses on too. See,
I know what you mean.
I too.
Yeah.
So you look here at, let's see here. So you go to annual comparison of, you know, you have Alaskan, Asian American, African, Hispanic, and Caucasian. So you look through those different categories. And then when you compare on those percentages, you can see, so we'll do African American, Hispanic, and Caucasian, for example.
Right.
So African American range, that has been a range from 16.8 to 17.86 to 17.81 to 15.88. Those have all been within a close range. Same thing with Hispanic, 36, 35, 44, 39. Caucasian, 45, 44, 35, 41. So there's not been any extreme changes in that actual percentage as comparison to each year. And like I said, it's been that way since I came here at the end of '22, because that's, like I said, I started pulling that historical data my very first year here.
I got you. Well, I'm liking the number here. Well, like is probably relative to what the statistics state for the last several years, but you might have a better appreciation for it as the chief. But physical force is resulting in bodily injury used during the stop. Looks like there's 3 of those out of the 3,500 of them. So that tells me that maybe you can help clarify this, that we have good training so that we know how to engage the citizens and our visitors.
So yes, part of that is, you know, citizen compliance, but then part of that is also officers' de-escalation and their communication, to be able to de-escalate that situation and communicate with that individual to get compliance.
That's highly important because it keeps everybody safer.
Yes, sir.
And it also helps to instill trust by the residents, knowing that we don't have any bullies or anybody that's a rogue officer. So would you say that we have any rogue officers?
I would not. I don't.
Any bullies?
I would not employ a rogue officer.
I know we have a couple of heroes that have saved lives.
I have a lot of heroes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the good work you guys are doing. And that's all my questions. Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? This is one of those reports I look forward to every year, because it really does have some interesting information on there. I did have an opportunity to look over it, and I didn't see anything that really stood out. So, council, any other questions, comments for Chief? Let's move on.
All right, thank you.
Upcoming events.
The Just FOIA live date went live today, so it is operational. If you want to put in a public information request, go to our website. Friday, February 6th, the Daddy-Daughter Dance will take place at Freeport River Place from 6 to 8:30. We'll be celebrating Black History Month, February 7th. That's Saturday at the Freeport Museum, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on Thursday, February 12th, 80 years of the Wednesday Review Club in Freeport will also occur at the Freeport Museum at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Agenda item 3 brings us to the consent agenda. Council, on the consent agenda, agenda item 3C and 3D, I am going to ask that we remove. I've been told by legal that our ordinances are in compliance. Therefore, these two do not need to be on the agenda and voted on. So that would leave us with 3A, action regarding the minutes from January 16, 2026 and January 20, 2026. Item 3B, action approving the date change for the second city council meeting in February 2026 to Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, due to the President's Day holiday. Agenda item 3E. Mr. Cool, you hearing this? Yes, sir. Agenda item 3E, action approving a four-way stop sign installation at the intersection of 4th Street and Pecan Street. Agenda item 3F, action approving the quarterly investment report for the fiscal year 26, first quarter, ending December 31st, 2025.
Mayor, can we pull out 3E for discussion?
3E,
Yes, sir.
Councilman Pena would like to pull out 3E, so that leaves us
And
with
also 3B, I'm sorry.
3 what, I'm sorry?
3B as in,
B as in boy.
yeah.
Councilman Pena would like to pull out 3B as well, which leaves us 3A and 3F. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda 3A and 3F as presented.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda items 3A and 3F by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1, but you did get your four-way stop sign.
No, you don't.
Oh, we pulled E, my bad. All right, agenda item 3B, action approving the date change for the second city council meeting in February 2026 to Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, due to the President's Day holiday. Is there a motion?
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve so that we can discuss it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Councilman Pena. That'll open discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Davis. All right. Questions or comments, gentlemen?
Yeah, my questions are mostly administrative here in terms of how the council is going to operate agenda-wise between now and then on the holidays, and also in terms of city services. The first question I have is, when is the deadline then for council to submit an agenda item for the February 17th meeting? Do we have that date? Is that this week or next week? Do we have an answer for that?
Dr. Kelly's figuring it out right now.
So you would typically have your reports due on what day of the week? But now it's Wednesday, yeah. So the 11th
So the 11th?
by
it-
noon.
So next week, Wednesday is the deadline for council to submit an agenda request?
Correct.
Is that right? This Wednesday, so that's
The
not the 11th.
the 11th, right?
No. The 4th.
The 4th.
Okay, thank you. At noon. And I'm also curious, because I got a lot of feedback here this week about holiday trash. What's the story with trash for that week with the President's Day, for who gets it on Mondays? I think Ward A gets it on Mondays.
Ward B gets it on Monday, and I'm going to tell you, Ward B, when it comes to trash, is the worst ward to be in, because most holidays fall on Monday. So we always get skipped.
We have to wait
and we have to wait till Thursday.
Well, the concern I have is that you're getting skipped, but the trash company's not coming in on Tuesday to fill up or fill in on what they missed on Monday. And so I wanted to make sure that we communicate with them here 2 weeks out to let them know that if they're going to be missing a day on the holiday, that they need to pick it up the very next day or promptly, because it can't be sitting out there for a whole week because it just piles up. And I heard that sentiment here, surprisingly, about 4 or 5 times while I was on the streets collecting petitions. So just wanted to pass that along. No further questions on that particular item, so if we want to make a motion or approve.
Any other questions or comments, council? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. Now we'll go to 3E. Action approving a 4-way stop sign installation at the intersection of 4th Street and Pecan. Dr. Kelly.
Thank you. At the request of the city, Kimley Horn and Associates conducted a traffic engineering study evaluating whether the intersection of West 4th Street and Pecan Street meets the criteria for all-way stop control under the Texas Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. The study analyzed the traffic volumes, crash history, sight distance, and roadway characteristics in accordance with TMUTCD Section 2B warrant guidance and engineering judgment. Based on this analysis, Kimley Horn recommends upgrading the intersection from its current 2-way stop configuration to an all-way stop control to improve safety, reduce right-angle crashes, and clearly assign right-of-way among all approaches.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve for discussion.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilman Davis. Council, any questions or comments on this?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments and questions. Number one, I'm glad that we're acting on this, so that's the good news. The bad news is that we have to figure a better way to do this a lot more efficiently. I know that Mr. Cool had been coming up here for several months, and I got to tell you, there's other intersections that are also very dangerous. Again, here in the last couple of weeks, I could tell you that Walnut and 7th, Walnut and 8th, everybody going down 7th thinks it's, the Indy 500. And so I'd like for those intersections to be looked at, because I have residents, elderly residents, and residents with children afraid to be out in their front yard because of the speeding. And they said that the decoys have been put out there before, but to no avail. It's not deterring it. And so I don't want any of them to have to come up here with an accident. One of the residents, actually, Mr. Bell, who we were talking about, I was speaking with him, old buddy of Winston's, and he was saying he had 5 accidents in his front, right in front of his front door, his car parked. He was so happy to say he wasn't in the car at those times, but 5 accidents over the last several years. And I was like, I can't even imagine what once was like, because I had a friend that had that experience once, but he's had it 5 times, and that just raised an eyebrow here. So I thought I'd bring it up when I saw this on the agenda to, one, reinforce that, yes, your voices are heard, but it shouldn't take 4 or 5 months for the city to act. And so I'd like for us to look at that section 2 here, and I don't know if we do that in a workshop or we just give an instruction or we put request for it to be on the next agenda so that we can approve another study. But I'd like for these 2 intersections here to be seriously looked at, because as I was walking them, they were definitely flying by.
May I ask if council has any other intersections that they would like to have studied, so I can get one quote from Kimley Horn to bring back?
Another one that was brought to my attention was the Velasco and Avenue A intersection. and that one was asked to have lights. And for that matter, even lighting. There was a plan at one point, there was a discussion at council to have additional lighting at that intersection from Center Point, and it never materialized. But that all said, I know we're talking about these stop signs, and Jerry, you can attest to this. You may recall when we did the bridge, how the bridge just looked that much more visibly navigatable, if that's even a word, when we just put reflectors on there. And so I'm wondering, you know, people are telling me that even down Velasco, from probably Gulf Boulevard all the way down to 36, that the striping needs to be redone, and also the striping down Second Street, because,
Jeff,
Yes,
maybe
sir.
we should save this for your work session,
yeah, well,
because we're getting off,
Yeah.
we're getting off target.
well, I'm just thinking about the intersections and the traffic flow. That's
I
all.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No further comments.
Council, any other questions or comments on four-way stop sign installation on 4th Street and Pecan?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I just want to make a comment. First of all, thank the City of Freeport for acknowledging that we do have an issue over there on Ward B. I just want to let the resident know that, I mean, you know, I'm sorry it did take a little while, but I don't think the City of Freeport was dragging their feet, you know, on, you know, getting this process done. And the reason I'm saying that because I work for the county, and it is a process that they went through. Now, I don't know the exact date that they turned it in to get the study, but that has to be done, you know. We do that in the county. We do that in the county too. So in Freeport, you have to do it. You can't, it's no way around it. You can't just go and do a project like that. Put stop signs up, you know, four-way stops and stop the traffic. If we just go around town just throwing four-way stops up, you know, it causes a clutter or something. I mean, but that has to be done, and I think they did their due diligence. Like I said, I don't know the exact date when they put it in, but it's not that they were dragging their feet, you know, that just has to be done. And, you know, by us showing, I felt like, you know, because I suggested that we put the blinking stop signs up there. You know, I heard you make some comments about, you know, sound like we were wasting taxpayers' money. But that was just being a concern while this process was going on, to not sit back and do nothing. You know, if we have somebody sitting up here complaining, coming up here complaining, and we would have done nothing, then we would have had a different result. So I suggested the blinking stop signs because, once again, I work for the county, and we have a dangerous section coming off St. Louis Pass Bridge when you're coming from Galveston, and it's a bad curve right there. And we've had several wrecks, like once a month. You know, I've been there for 10 years, and Winston can contest to that because I took his spot when he retired. So it was before me. But like 3 people then died, not just bad wrecks, died in the 10 years that I've been there. So we finally put some blinking chevron signs. Chevron is a sign with the arrow letting you know that it's turning. I mean, it's a curve coming up. Well, just by putting the chevron blinking signs up there, we didn't have an accident for 2 years. I just went out there today. They just hit the sign from 2 years ago. You know, they took out 2 of them. So it's not going to stop the problem, but it did raise awareness to the curve. And in 2 years, no one has had an accident there. So it's not that, you know, we don't want to do nothing, or we didn't want to do nothing in you know, just right away. We would have done it right away if we could, you know, but that's just a process that they had to go through. And I just wanted to let you know that, you know, we heard you. We appreciate you coming out and, bringing the concerns for the citizens, not only you, but the citizens in the ward, that probably can't come up and speak. So we thank you for being a representative to, be looking out for safety in our citizens of Freeport. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Council, any other questions or comments?
Mr. Poole had his hand up.
Mr. Cool, we, as much as I would like to,
Oh, yeah, that was actually my last question. What's the delivery date on this?
With that, I will call the vote. All those in favor to put a four-way stop sign on the 4th Street and Pecan intersection, state aye. Aye. All opposed, state nay. Yes, sir, it's going to happen. The vote carries unanimously.
Mayor, do we have an answer?
I was
from-
beginning to wonder if we were ever going to get to that point myself.
When is that going to happen?
I'm not.
Do we have a timetable on that? Ms. Kelly?
We got authorization, so I'm sure we'll get
As
started.
soon as possible,
Okay, thank you.
And say, can I make a suggestion
sir.
on the lights? When we put the four-way stop up, right now we have the lights, I think, going across that way. Well, I think we would want to switch the lights to the main road, because that hasn't had a stop sign. So it's going to be an issue at the beginning because it's new and there's been no stop sign there, so the traffic is still going to be coming and it's going to pop up on them. So instead of where the flashing lights are now, we need to move. If we just going to put, because we're just going to put regular four-way stops up there, right? Or we're going to get all blinking.
I think with what you're saying, putting the flashing on 4th Street, at least starting off,
Yeah.
is a real good idea.
Yeah, because it's new and it's just, they're not used to stopping there. So that's where you want to raise the attention that, hey, it's stop signs here now. And so the other way, you can keep the regular stop signs there because it's always been a stop sign.
Yep.
Just a suggestion.
A good one at that. Moving on. Agenda item 4A, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3024, appointing members to the Senior Citizen Commission. Dr. Kelly.
Yes, thank you. Consideration and action to accept the resignations of Senior Citizens Commission members Linda Harrison and Lorraine Mitchell, and to appoint 2 qualified individuals to fill the unexpired terms on the Senior Citizens Commission of the City of Freeport. Your potential applicants are Carol Parker and Diana Parker.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Carol Parker and Miss Diane Parker. This is your opportunity if you would like to come in front of council and God and everybody else and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would want to join this committee. And I do say it's an opportunity. It's not a requirement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and the council members. My name is Carol Nunez Parker, and I live at 76 Dolphin Lane in Freeport, and I am a citizen. Okay, thank you for this opportunity to apply for the part of the Senior Citizen Committee. A little bit about me. I'm an occupational therapist for 55 years. I have worked, and I have operated 3 businesses that range from 3 employees to 300 employees. I have planned, organized, and carried out many professional meetings as well as learning situations for my staff, as well as an annual Christmas party. We've also had frequent social events for the staff that I have planned and organized and attended. Also assisted with many holidays for the clients I work with clients with children with disabilities as well as adults with disabilities, and we've planned several activities, many activities through the 55 years that I've worked. As far as volunteer things, I have volunteered for 10 years for my professional organization, the NDTA, and was a committee member as a PR director. And with that position, we scheduled and set the annual professional organization. We had our annual social events where we participated for the attending participants in the conference, which ranged from anywhere from 200 to 400 participants. I also volunteered at the food bank, at Food Basket at Clute, Texas, helping both the participants negotiate food choices as well as helping pick up local foods in the community to take to the food bank. I would like to be on the Senior Citizen Committee because, first of all, I am a senior citizen, and I want to help other seniors feel a sense of belonging in the community. I want to have help with the planning of new and exciting activities for our Freeport seniors, as well as being part of Freeport helping the senior citizen population. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Miss Diana Parker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Diane Parker. I live at 95 Dolphin Lane. I have been a resident of Lubbock, Texas for about 65 years. My wife and I retired here about a year and a half ago. I currently volunteer at the Freeport Cares Food Bank, and then I was called and asked to be on this committee. I'm kind of puzzled about why I've got to come to the city commission to volunteer for a position and have to be approved. But maybe that's how Freeport works. I've watched this council on TV, and it is really a combobulated mess. It kind of scares me a little bit. It doesn't seem anybody gets along, and everybody fights on everything. But I would love to volunteer. I love to help seniors. I'm a senior myself. And if y'all see fit to do that, I would love to do it. Thank you.
Is it Diane or Diana?
Which do you like?
Well, I said Diana, and you said Diane, so I just want
Well,
to...
the problem is in Lubbock, I was called Parker, but there's already a Parker here. So I've got to go by another name. But most of my friends call me Di, or Diane is fine.
All right, thank you very much. All right, council. Councilman Rosso, we're going to let you do the honors.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept one of the Parkers, because I can only accept one at a time.
Ms. Carroll, Ms. Day.
Carol?
Carol?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
And we got to vote on it, right?
Council, we have a motion on the floor to accept Miss Carol Parker to the Senior Citizens Commission. The motion by Councilman Rosso, seconded by Councilman Matamoros. Is there any discussion needed on this?
I'm curious about the two individuals that their terms ended or they resigned. What happened with those two?
They've resigned.
How long were they on the commission? Do we know?
These positions are set to expire May 31, 2026.
And both of them have been on there how long? Do we know?
I'm not sure when they were appointed, but their terms are set to expire May 31st, 2026.
And so the terms for these two nominees tonight will only be good through the end of May as well?
That is correct.
Okay, just want to be clear on that. Thank you. No further questions.
Any other questions or comments, gentlemen?
I just want to thank y'all for volunteering. I think you got a nice group of ladies that's signed ahead of y'all, and y'all gonna make a a fine team over there. I hear they have a good time over there. I'm gonna have to come visit y'all. Thank y'all.
All right, council, I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. Council, we have one more position to fill.
Mayor, and I'm going to make that motion to appoint Ms. Diane Parker to fulfill the remaining term.
We have a motion by Councilman Matamoros to go ahead and appoint Ms. Diane Parker,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councilman Pena. Any questions or comments on this, gentlemen? Before I call the vote, sometimes we do agree.
And sometimes we agree to disagree.
I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for stepping up. And if I'm not mistaken, that gives us a full board. We can start meeting and doing our thing. Nice. Agenda item 4B.
Jerry, matter of
Yes, sir.
fact, Monday, we're having a meeting. Monday, all you senior citizens that want to come out and participate, you're welcome to come out.
If you talk much more about it, you're not going to have anything to say on your work session. Agenda item 4B, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3025, appointing a member to the Beautification, Parks, and Recreation Board. Mr. Perez.
Morning.
Good evening.
Evening. Sorry. Staff recommends approval, appointing a qualified individual for a vacancy. Staff recommends approval, appointing a qualified individual to fill a vacancy. The Beautification Committee has a vacancy due to Robert Doyle resigning. His term expires October 31st, 2027. This appointment will fill out the remainder of the term. The city received an application from Lisa Gerard. The committee met on January 23rd, 2026, and voted unanimously to present Lisa Gerard to City Council for recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gerard, would you like to come up and introduce yourself and explain or express why you would like to join this committee, this board?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and council. My name is Lisa Gerard. I live at 121 Brazos Landing Court. I'm from Lake Jackson. I have lived in Freeport now for 20 years. And I love Lake Jackson, but I love Freeport. I have really grown to love it. And I would like to serve on the Parks and Recreation Board because I'm interested in beautification. I drive down 2nd Street daily and Brazosport Boulevard, and I'm always thinking of ways that I would like to improve the beauty of Freeport. Do you want to know anything else about me? I've served on several boards. I've served on the EDC. I've served on planning and zoning committee. I've been on several strategic type committees. I am a graduate of Stephen F. Austin State University. I started my procurement career at Dow Chemical. I ended my procurement career with Brazoria County as the purchasing director. And in procurement, I have actually found out that I can use what I've learned serving Freeport. So I would love to serve Freeport on this board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Wait. Who's the liaison?
There is not one.
Ain't one.
There isn't one.
Is there not a liaison?
Unless it's Winston. You've been missing the meetings. I think that's right, actually. Yeah.
Don't worry about
I
it.
do remember.
Don't worry about it, just take it.
Yes.
It's the beautification.
All right, Mr.
Beautification
Rosso.
Board.
Councilman Rosso, we're going to let you make the motion.
Okay, Ms. Gerard, we'd love to have you on the board.
I'll second.
So we're going to consider that a motion.
Yeah.
Seconded by
Okay.
Councilman Matamoros. Council, any questions or comments? Any discussion needed?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Gerard, we would love to have you on that board. I also live in the same neighborhood she does, and she's always out in the yard, y'all. I mean, she's always out in the yard, and she's raking, and she's planting and picking and watering flowers and everything. So, I mean, if beautification got to do anything with you know, planting and beautifying this city and these roads, she need to be on that committee. I thank you for stepping up and coming up here. We appreciate you, but I'm telling you, always in the yard. If you ever just ride through Brazos Landing Court, I mean, if you ride through that 2 times, I bet you're gonna see her in the yard 1 time. I guarantee you.
Thank you, Councilman. You know, I can say just about every time Mr. Gerard has reached out to me, it has been related to grass that needs to be cut or flowers that need to be redone. So I attest, I feel like she will be great on this board as well. So council, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Gerard. Agenda item 4C, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3026 to amend section 9.07A, the alternative to overtime or flex time to the personnel policy manual. Ms. Kelly.
Thank you. This item updates the city's personnel policy manual to clarify and standardize the use of flex time as an alternative to overtime. The proposed amendment ensures that all city employees, including hourly and salaried employees, are eligible to utilize flex time when operationally feasible and approved, and flex time must be used within a single pay period instead of the week it's earned and may not be carried forward or banked. The amendment resolves an existing inconsistency in policy application and provides clear administrative guidance while remaining compliant with applicable labor laws.
Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-3026 as presented.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
Here, I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rosso. Any discussion needed on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Skelly, I'm just curious about the math on this. What's the net savings to the city estimated at? Or is it going to be a net cost? Oh, I asked if it was going to be a net cost or a net savings
It
for
would-
this change.
It would be a net savings because we're not paying people overtime. We're allowing them the flexibility to flex that time instead. I mean, I can use my own time that I've had here as an example. In my 7 weeks here, I've had 54.5 hours of what you would call flex time. I've used actually 3.5. So that has saved the city, if I was an hourly employee, that overtime cost of 54 hours.
So are we talking about flex time for full-time, for salaried positions or simply hourly positions?
For both positions, yes.
Well, so if you had 57 as a full-time salaried employee, what's the minimum you're required to have for the week? Is that 40? So then there's 17 hours of flex time for a full-time salaried employee? How does that work?
So a salaried employee would be 40 hours per week.
Right.
So I'm adding all of my flex time for the 7 weeks that I've been here. So that would be 54 hours total. I mean, if you look at it per week,
Can I ask a different
Sure.
question a different way? If you work 60 hours this week,
right,
this policy will now mean that you get to take 20 hours off in the future. Is that right?
that's not correct, no. So
Okay, thank you.
it
Please help.
has to be operationally feasible and approved, and it has to be used within that single pay period. So I can't bank it for, oh, I have a big vacation coming up in October, I'm just going to put all this flex time aside.
Eight weeks worth of flex time.
Right, no, that's not possible.
So how does it expire and how is it utilized? Help clarify that for me, please.
It expires every pay period.
Okay.
So you can only use it within the pay period you have earned it.
So if you had 10 hours
Mhm.
in the 2-week period, that means Thursday and Friday you could take off. Or let's say you had 16 hours, I should say. Then that would mean in that pay period, in that 2-week period, the employee who is salaried can take, with this particular policy, Thursday and Friday off.
Technically, yes, but it would have to be operationally feasible, and their boss would have to sign off on it.
How do we get the politics out of that? How clean is it to do that? Because I could see the abuses of it, I could see the favoritism of it. How do we eliminate that particular human element so that it's just kept to metrics? How do you foresee that happening under your watch? This is kind of a managerial question, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you have to have trustworthy employees in place that can make that determination of what's operationally feasible. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a subjective term.
Yeah.
And it's a benefit to the employees, right? So, I mean, you would use it judiciously.
Yeah. Do you have any particular department that you see where that is pervasive, that there is a lot of flex time or extra time that's not being, I guess, awarded?
No, it's quite the opposite.
What do you mean it's quite the opposite? How are you characterizing that?
So for example, our last city council meeting where we were here till 11 o'clock at night and several of the employees were here as well. They rarely, if ever, ask for a dollar for dollar or an hour for hour compensation. You know, we have some really great employees that don't take advantage. I haven't seen it.
Do you think that would change with this new policy?
Well,
to the effect that
the only thing that's
we're looking
changing,
at operational risks?
the only thing that's changing in this policy is it applies to one more person in the city. So
Okay.
this is a policy aside from per pay period. That's really the only change from the current policy, the per pay period.
And what was it before? Just the language?
7 days, I
Oh,
think.
7
They
days.
had to do it within that week, that
Got it.
7-day work week. But gives you a little more flexibility if you're completely jammed up and you've worked 60
fair.
hours that
Right.
week. You know, maybe you can leave at lunch on Friday the following week in that pay period. But the way the policy is written right now, there is only one position in the whole city that's not allowed to use flex time.
And what position is that?
The assistant city manager position. So it's discriminatory on its face when every other position is allowed to use flex time, including myself.
That's an interesting word to describe it. But I can see that. As an employee, I'd probably want more than 2 weeks, quite frankly. You know?
Well, you're not going to get it.
As a, right, I mean, I'm talking about the 2-week window.
Yes,
Being a
I know.
4-week window, 1-month window. But I'm just trying to figure out, where the money's going, if we're, tightening our belt in the right ways, that this doesn't, create some other avenue for losses, and so it doesn't sound like it's going to be.
No, sir.
Thank you so much. That's
Thank
what I
you.
needed answered.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 4D, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3027, adding section 9.23 to the personnel policy manual. Chief Howell.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So recently, in having a conversation actually with Mr. Duncan, we were talking about some of the professional development that takes place with your different organizations, such as Texas City Manager Association, Texas Police Chiefs Association. Different fields have different professional organizations. And Mr. Duncan had asked if we had a policy regarding that, and I'd stated no, but I explained to him what our standard practice was. And he had stated it'd be a good idea to have an actual written policy adapted to the practices that we perform. So the policy that we're bringing for you today is a representation of that. Currently, it's set about that for any of the employees, no one gets reimbursed or no one gets their professional services paid for unless approved by their supervisor. So this, again, is just a policy now stating that. It's already what we've been doing. We're just putting it in a policy form.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion needed on this, gentlemen? Questions, comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 4E, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3028, determining the methods of making public information requests, or PIRs. Chief Howell.
So as Dr. Kelly had mentioned earlier, we went officially live today with Just FOIA, which FOIA stands for Freedom of Information Act. It's often referred to as FOIA or PIR, Public Information Request. These terms are used kind of interchangeably, if you will. So with us now having the website-based version to be able to process records, in the legislative session, I believe it was, I thought I wrote the session down, I was trying to recall. I don't recall which legislation session was, I apologize, but legislation had passed law which stated that a city could create the ordinance laying out which ways that we accepted public information. And so that's what we're asking council to do. We'll still continue to accept those in person, by mail, by email, but now we will also accept those on the web-based program, Just FOIA. If we get this passed and established, then at that time, we were looking at purchasing some posters that would be hung up at the different city public buildings to be able to just inform staff of the different ways, not staff, I'm sorry, citizens of the different ways that they can be able to request public information.
Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Is there a second? I will second it. You're too slow. Is there any kind of training for the public on this, or is it pretty self-explanatory?
It's pretty self-explanatory. Like when you go to the intro of the page, you know, it has the selecting for like city records or police department records. And then once you select which one, it'll have the form on there. the same form that's available in the lobbies at the police department and at City Hall. So they'll just, again, type in their information. The advantages now is that they can log back in and track where their records are, track to see what the progress is, and it just kind of helps streamline the process a little better, and then also helps us to be able to keep up with the records, because right now we do them manual, if you will. So whether it's the city secretary or the police department, they get the request, they stop and count on the calendar, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how they do it, where this system will go ahead and calculate it for you. Thank you, Toby. So you can see right there for the intro of the Just FOIA site.
And who in the city is responsible for tracking this and making sure that
So
we're doing what we're supposed to be doing?
So for city records, the city records will still go to the city secretary, and for the police department records, it'll still go to the records manager. So they both have access to it. We also have some additional personnel that will have access to it for, during the case that one of those individuals is out, whether on vacation or training, that then there's other persons that can be able to step in and maintain that process. And then, of course, Mr. Duncan as well.
Okay, thank you. Council, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
On the city website, can we scroll back to the main page? You see notice and jobs ahead and approved on those. It would be very helpful if that's at the front in one of those circles, because that is such a very prominent component of how the public interacts with the city, getting information, versus the weeds. Like, where was it again? It was in government, or was it in business, government? Again, just boom, right there.
So, and we can do that. A recent conversation, I don't even remember what we were discussing adding another circle for. Toby, do you remember? Was it for the records? Okay. So it was one of the conversations that we had in which we can add the circle, but then when you're looking at it on a mobile device, it will no longer, like 6 was the max,
Right,
where it would show up clean. And so that was kind of one of the discussions that we had was, well, if we do it, do we take out something else so that way we can still have a clean mobile device? Because we were kind of maxed out on the number that we could have where it was still when most people look at it on their phone.
I wonder if that's dictated by rows, if it might just not be a second row on the design.
It would be like isolated by itself.
Just like right in the middle, center. Just something to think about. On the mobile side, that's one thing, but certainly the homepage, I think it's important.
Yes, sir.
It's a sacrifice on the mobile, so be it, but on the homepage, most people are still on their PCs.
And then we did add on our actual request forms where there's the QR code that you can scan with your phone to be able to automatically take you to that website. So if somebody comes in there at City Hall or the PD and then they see that way, if they just want to scan it and then go finish it up at home, they could.
That's on second floor right now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice.
That's a win.
That is good. Maybe even the QR code on the bumper stickers of the police.
On bumper stickers. That could cause accidents, so. Now you're making my traffic numbers go up.
Council, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a couple of other questions here, just in terms of housekeeping. This is a question for our city attorney, Mr. Duncan here. Does this particular workflow and process meet all legal requirements that the city's supposed to address? Does this help? Is legal, the legal department, the city attorney, and being able to be the catch-all for all the legal risks and, I guess, components of every request of the public information, has that been, number one, I guess, reviewed, and for that matter, tested, so that nothing gets, done or not done because it wasn't communicated? I wasn't sure if you guys did any kind of beta testing on this yet.
So it's been in beta testing since, was that December that they started doing testing, I believe? So yeah, we've been running testing procedures on it since December. And then also we had spoken to a number of other cities that already utilize this program to see what their success has been on the program as well.
I see. And so right now, when somebody makes a request on the public information request, they go in, can we go back to that one more time, Mr. Cohen? And we go government, and you click on a new request. Is it new request that you hit, or do you hit public information request and public police?
The police are
Okay, because the new request button is kind of, misleading that I got to hit that button first. Do you hit that button first?
So you can either. So this changes each side. You have to pick if you're doing it for the public information request for the police department, for the city of Freeport. This changes if you're tracking an existing one. So new request gives you these buttons.
I see. Okay. I thought if you hit new request, something would pop up, a splash page with those two. And I guess the next question is, so somebody goes in, if you might scroll down, the public information request there, they click that. And this is the information, and that information then goes to
So
city secretary?
Once they complete all of this out, and actually for whether you do police or city request, it actually then goes to a group email that we have.
Okay.
And so once it goes to that email, which Clarissa and the records manager Adrian are on, like I said, in addition to a couple other personnel, that then they turn around and look, she'll see, well, that's a police department record, so she'll know at that point, then Adrian will process it.
Gotcha. So on the city information requests, the public information to the city side, the group email consists of the city secretary, in this case, Ms. Fernandez, and who else?
So then for the police department.
No, but for just on the city side?
So the city
it's
side
just-
has you, the executive assistant of the city manager, and I was city manager,
Is it-
myself, and then Adrian, Brittany, and Stephanie at the police department.
Is the city attorney also in that same group?
No, not in the email group.
Because I know we have a timetable on that, so I would imagine the clock starts when it goes through, and I want to make sure, because this is the problem we had with Olson and Olson.
So
They-
this
They were
is,
not responding timely, and then like, well, we didn't get, or, they found some excuse.
well, I know at the police
Yeah,
department, we didn't have that
yeah.
problem, but, so what it is right now, when they receive that email, then they turn around and do a separate email to Mr. Duncan that gives him then that date, that we received it on this date, it's due on this date. So that way he can be able to know, and he has a calendar invite is what it sends to him. So it's noted on his calendar for him to be able to track it as well.
Okay. Is there any need for the city attorney to be notified at the outset to be in that group? Would it be more helpful to make sure that everybody who has a hand in that process?
That would be up to him. I would think it would become more confusing, just because of the number of emails that would be flying around. But if he thinks it would be beneficial to him, that's your call.
We'll evaluate it when we start and see what works.
Oh, I thought it was already in evaluation with the beta testing since December.
I've not participated in beta testing, so, yeah.
Okay.
But it's okay. I mean,
So, yeah,
it's new technology.
No, it's not.
So the
It's standard.
beta testing has been fake open records request.
Okay.
We haven't had citizens inputting things in there because we didn't want there to be mistakes happen and not comply with somebody's records.
Right.
So we've been still processing records the same way in emailing Mr. Duncan, sending him the calendar invite on, we received this day, it's due on this day.
All right.
So the beta testing has just been with fake records testing to see that it sent the emails back to those who needed to, and then they changed it in the system, and then to see how it different processed along the way. We didn't want to play with people's real records requests.
Sure. I'm just curious, here in the last 60 days, have there been any delinquencies in terms of failing to meet those 10-day deadlines in terms of public information requests for the city, on the city side?
I would have to look at that. I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to
Do we know
look.
if that's the case, Ms. Kelly? Or Ms. Fernandez?
I don't have that information, but we can certainly pull the records and get an accounting for you.
Yeah, that'd be, I'm
For
just
the last
curious.
60 days, was that the?
We're 60
yes.
and 90 days. I'm just kind of curious if Ms. Fernandez has any knowledge of any missed deadlines. Okay. Yeah, that would be important. I'm just trying to, it's about setting a baseline. What gets measured gets managed, right? So I'm just curious if this particular process is supposed to help streamline the process. I'm just wondering to see, how are we going to measure whether or not it's actually better than what we were doing before?
Well, it's going to be very beneficial to the community. Like I said, they can now see the tracking of I can tell you, we get a lot of emails that somebody submits a records request, and then 3 or 4 days later, they're emailing back again saying, what's the status of my record? Where is it at in the process? Where is, this, they can actually log on and see.
Like a FedEx tracking?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Okay. And then on the police side, what's the same model, same group email?
Yes.
The same workflow?
Yes.
And the same question in terms of legal? Has that also been in beta since December, or is that on a different timeline?
It's all on the same system, so.
Okay. And so I'm just curious, do we have the need to make sure that any of our buddy that's doing any of the legal work as it relates to these public information requests are part of that, so that the time on that doesn't get lost in the shuffle or come out of the system on day 7 or day 6 or day 9, but comes out on day 1, at least as a heads up? I'm just, to me would be
So yes, when
more
Mr. Duncan
effective.
goes to log into the system, he'll be able to see when what is due, by what date.
Okay.
He'll have all that information.
So he'll log into this particular system, not rely on a missed email per se.
Correct.
So part of his role and responsibilities is to also check that system.
Yeah, like I said, he'll get the emails to know that
Okay.
there's something that's, either coming or already in there. And then at that time, when he goes to log in, he'll be able to see and to process accordingly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the details.
Just like any other new program, we go into it with the thought of this is the way it's gonna work. And I think we have some smart people up here, and if we need to tweak this or add this person, we can do it.
Yes, sir.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
You're stuck with me for a while. I have the next several items.
I was just wondering if we need to start asking Ms. Parker to join more of our council meetings.
She put the pressure on.
Agenda item 4F, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3029, amending section 9.01, the Texas Municipal Retirement System of the Personnel Policy Manual. Chief Howell.
So this is more just a housekeeping policy. In recent evaluation of some of the policies, the finance director noticed where on this policy it still showed a 7% when we enacted the 8% that council passed last September that went into effect of January this year. So this is just housekeeping that policy to change that 7% to 8%.
I like it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. I like the housekeeping ones with no financial impact. Any discussion on this, gentlemen? I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously. 5G, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3030, authorizing the application for an acceptance of the state and local cybersecurity grant program. Chief Howell.
So these next three are all grant related. This grant is the only grant that does require a match. So this does have a 30% match to it, which would result in a little under $6,000. However, this grant would not be awarded until our next budget year. So it would have no effect into our current budget. This would not be anything to look into until fiscal year 27, but the application of the grant is due this month. And so what we're looking at doing is, this is going to be actually a citywide grant. David, my IT detective, has been speaking with Toby as well. So like I said, a program that's going to benefit the entire city, but there was a grant that, as policing, that we could be able to apply for to get this covered. So a little cost under, I believe it's a little under $20,000. And like I said, if we do get the award for it, it will have a city match of a little under $6,000. But we wouldn't have to look at that until next budget year. The purpose of this is just to really tighten up our cybersecurity regarding our email system. So, we're always looking to just try to make things a little safer and a little better with some of the attacks that have taken place with some of the other cities.
Council, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve 2026-3029. 3030 as presented.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rosso. Any questions or comments on this one? The IT professionals in the house are good with it? All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Once again, motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 4H, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3031, authorizing the city manager to apply for and accept grant funding from the Office of the Governor of the State of Texas under the fiscal year 2027 Criminal Justice Grant Program for the Portable Radio Upgrade Project. Chief Al.
So this grant is a 100% covered grant. Again, this would not even be until fiscal year of 2027. However, applications are due at the end of February. So this is to be able to get 20 new radios. Excuse me, this will get 20 new radios. And even though we have more than that for personnel-wise, the max request of the grant was $150,000. So 20 radios took us to 149 and some change. So if we wind up getting this grant, then our goal next year would be to apply for another grant to get the remaining radios covered. But due to the cost of the radios, it's just gone up so much over the years with Motorola. You know, it just it doesn't cover for all of our staff. So we're just going to try to implement it in groups.
Cool. I like that, and I like 100%.
I do too.
Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion needed on this one, gentlemen?
Chief, are these just portable radios, no base stations, nothing like that?
Correct, just portable radios. These are the upgraded ones with the LTE that has the cellular to be able to be like better in the buildings, like if we're at the school or if we're at one of the plants or something like that. So just help with better coverage.
Yeah, I'm fully well aware of these radios
Yeah.
and how expensive they are.
Oh, yeah.
We're going through a,
They're very proud of them.
yes, and unfortunately Motorola's the only one. So, yeah, no. I know
Kenwood's trying to break through the market.
uphill battle, but okay. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions or comments for Chief? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
And my final request tonight is another grant. This one also is 100%. This is for, oh, I'm sorry, Mayor, you probably want to read that, huh? I just jumped on.
Okay, let me go ahead. Agenda item 4I, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2026-3032, authorizing the city manager to apply for and accept fiscal year 2027 Criminal Justice Grant Program funding from the Office of the Governor of the State of Texas for the server modernization project.
Now it's my
Now
turn.
take it away.
Okay. So again, another grant. This is 100% covered. This also will be for fiscal year 2027. So this would be to replace our cluster server. And so it is almost 5 years old. So by the time this grant does do funding, at that point it will be at 5 years old. And so we're just trying to stay, if you will, ahead of the curve to avoid any type of maintenance issues, having any server downtime. And so going ahead and getting a new server upgrade will be able to help hopefully avoid those problems.
And this one, once again, is 100%?
Yes, sir.
Those are the ones I like.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-3032.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rosso. Any questions or comments on this one, gentlemen?
Chief, is this just the servers themselves, or is it the cabinetry that those servers fit in?
This would just cover the servers themselves.
Okay,
And so the grant wouldn't cover the cabinetry.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chief. Agenda item 4J, consideration and possible action awarding the annual fuel and alternative fuel contract to Synergy Petroleum LLC. Ms. Hurst.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff advertised RFP number 2025-20 titled Fuel Services for an annual contract to provide fuel and alternative fuel products to the city fueling station on November 30th of 2025 and December 5th of 2025. The city received 3 responses to that RFP, and staff is recommending that we award the contract to Synergy Petroleum LLC. Currently, we use Midtex Oil, and although we are happy with them, we are estimating an approximate annual savings of $50,000 by switching to Synergy.
Council, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve awarding a annual fuel and alternative fuel contract to Synergy Petroleum LLC.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
A second.
A second by Councilman Davis. Questions or comments on this one, gentlemen?
How does this one compare again to what we paid in the last year?
So based on the fuel usage that we've been charged in the last year by Midtex, taking that same amount of usage, we're estimating roughly $50,000 in savings.
And what's the total annual on this one here?
I'm sorry, I didn't write it down on my agenda item.
Ms. Hurst, am I reading this right, that 18 cents a gallon on,
So they use, is John still here? Oh, yeah. I apologize if I'm going to misspeak because I don't fully understand all of the lingo with the fuel. However, there's a daily variable price that they add to, I believe it's the OSP, is that correct? That they add to that base price. It fluctuates every day. When we got these bids back, we were concerned that maybe we were missing something regarding that price. Lori, which is the Public Works Office Manager, Admin Assistant, reached out to them specifically to request clarifying information and a sample invoice just showing that there's no hidden fees, extra delivery fees, any of those things. So yes, what we're seeing is what we would be paying.
I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, that was like a word salad answer, I have to say. Number one, I didn't get my answer on what the total was. Do we have that?
I
We
didn't
don't have
write
that.
the annual usage on my agenda item. No, sir, I'm sorry.
That's my first question. The second question I would have is, and this affects all the vehicles, Public Works, Police Department as well?
Yes.
Every vehicle under the city's umbrella?
Yes, okay, sorry. I
Is that right?
didn't. Yes.
And all the directors' vehicles that have vehicles?
City vehicles, yes.
Does this include take-home vehicles?
Chief, can you clarify? Yes.
That's another question I have about the take-home side of things. And the part that you're unclear on, can you clarify that? What is it that you're unclear on about this particular?
So the OSP, so that was a whole learning curve.
What does it stand for?
I,
Yeah. That's a problem. I mean, if you're uncomfortable with some of the material, we can't be comfortable. So that gives me pause. I'd like for us to be, obviously, is there a deadline on this contract that we might be able to get some more information so that you understand it solidly and can explain it to us at the next meeting? Or is it time sensitive that this has to go?
Well, we would like it to start realizing those savings.
Well, I understand the savings, but I hate getting into a contract that we have.
Official selling price.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm glad we understand what the acronym is, but do we know what it means? Contractually, or numerically, or financially?
so it's a rate set that every day that whoever's whoever's charging the fuel, they log in, and whatever that rate is set at for the day, they can add to their price. It's a variable rate.
And this particular contract, has the city attorney had a chance to review this, and does it seem, I guess, kosher, and for that matter, city safe?
Contracts are after contractors are selected.
Well, again, I'm getting heartburn with not the full understanding of what's being recommended to council by staff.
So the person that I work directly with understands everything, came from many years of working in this industry. However, I don't work with the fuel service on a day-to-day basis. I could explain everything about accounting, but to sit here and answer various questions related to fuel service, and I don't work directly with it, I'm sorry, but I don't.
That's your fine.
And it's not that I don't agree or didn't do any research, or if that were the case, I wouldn't bring it to y'all tonight with my name on it.
I mean, I like the idea that there's a $50,000 savings, or that there's any numerical savings, but do we know what, all the caveats to that savings might be, or how that might actually extend beyond? If this is simply to look at a bid but not look at the contract, that seems a little counterintuitive, right? I mean, if we're going to pass something to engage and/or for that matter, commit the city to this particular company, does that mean we have to, and this is probably a question for
So it
city
comes
attorney,
to
does that commit us to
council,
the next?
council selects the contractor, and then it enters the contract it enters the contract phase. When it's stemming from an RFP, the bid documents is the basis of the contract, and the city writes that contract.
So we're setting the parameters as to what information we're going to need.
Correct.
Yeah, this is a normal process when you do an RFP. You get the bids, and y'all approve to go with that, but that's still subject to having an agreement on the contract.
Okay.
So that's the second step. So if we approve the bid and then we get into it, and the contract, we can't come to terms. They're very, the terms they want to have are disagreeable. Then we can come back and we can go to the next bid.
Okay.
So,
Or go back for rebid.
yeah, or go back for rebid, either way, right? But that's quite normal, the process that we do.
Okay. Have we ever had to do any kind of rebids here in the last year, where we basically said, hey, this contract stinks?
After we've selected a contract? I don't believe so, no, sir.
Okay. No further questions, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Council, any other questions or comments? For the record, I would enjoy paying 18 cents a gallon for diesel fuel, diesel or unleaded. When we draw up the contract, I want to make sure that we're close to the 18 cents. And if it does pass, we need someone keeping an eye on it.
Jerry, you're going to have to buy millions of gallons of fuel to get it at that price. So I don't think you're going to want to buy it at 18 cents.
18 cents and 203, we got almost $2 difference between A, B, and C. So, council, with that, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't run off.
No.
Agenda item 4K, consideration and possible action awarding the annual janitorial services contract to Marston South LLC. Ms. Hurst.
Yes, sir. So our staff advertised RFP number 2025-19 titled Annual Janitorial Services for the annual contract to provide janitorial services to the city. That was advertised on November 28th of 2025 and December 5th of 2025. The city received 8 responses to this one. Our current provider has not been recommended for renewal due to unsatisfactory performance. The lowest priced 4 respondees were verified. This says 4, but it really should have been 5. I apologize. Were verified through reference checks, and the recommended company received the most impressive reviews. Janitorial services is included in the adopted budget for 25 and 26. The annual savings for the contractor we're recommending, Marsden South, will be $973.96 from our current contractor. And then all required insurance will be verified prior to the contract execution, which is our normal procedure. So the staff recommends Marsden South LLC.
Council, is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve Marsden South awarding the annual janitorial services contract to them.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a couple of questions. Oh, go
Yes.
ahead, sorry.
Thank you, sir. Did you say this was the lowest bid? Did we
No,
not?
sir. No,
Okay.
it's not.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't like, the lowest bid all the time,
So if we post a request for bid, then we are required to go the lowest bid. If we do a proposal, then we are eligible to do the option that best fits the city. It does not have to be the cheapest option.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. And this one was, where we at? Oh, okay. Okay, well, I thought it was the lowest bid, but no.
Oh,
We're
no,
good.
sir,
So
it's
I don't
not.
have any questions now. I just don't like, that sometimes, especially when you have a cleaning service, it's not that much, but,
Right.
we have problems with ours too, and like, hey, you might need to pay $200 more and get somebody in here to clean better, because, they just not cleaning right. We need to get rid of the one we got.
And this one is going to be a little bit, not much, but it will be a little bit cheaper than what we're paying now. So
Oh, yeah. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Council, any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you said it's cheaper than what we have now?
Yes, sir.
So this bid amount here on page 152, again, first of all, thank you for putting this together here and doing this here and explaining the RFP, RFQ, and RFB. I have a couple of questions on that too, but what is the name of the current company we're with?
M&R's Elite Janitorial Solutions.
So they provided a bid as well.
Yes, sir.
And were they given any communication on their poor service or poor delivery of cleaning previously?
Yes, sir. So that began before my time in management. There's been numerous issues at several of the facilities.
And so they never corrected any of them?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, that's fair. And the number here, what is this bid amount? Is that for the year? They're going to only get $1,200 to clean up these offices for 365 days? Or how
No,
does this
sir.
work?
I know that is a little bit misleading, maybe. It is a weekly price, though.
That's the weekly.
Yes, sir.
And what offices are they responsible for that?
It's City Hall, the Police Department, the library, and the Service Center.
City Hall, PD.
No, ma'am. This company's out of Houston. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
I'm sorry, City Hall, the Police Department, the library,
Yes, sir. And Public Works.
and Public Works.
On page 173 of your packet, they have it broken down. Oh, I thought they had price on here too. I'm sorry, this is for man hours. and square footage.
I gotcha. And how frequent do they clean? Every other day?
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
Yes, sir.
And that's their weekly rate?
Yes, sir.
Do we know how many staff they have?
They're
actually clean
estimating, for City Hall, they'll have, 5 and, well, you can't have half a person. They'll have 6 people, for City Hall. For the PD, they'll have 4. The library will have 2, and Public Works, they're estimating 1. And that's based on the,
Square footage?
yes, sir.
Where's the square footage column? I didn't see that.
It's on page 173, and it's gonna be the 3rd column of that chart.
My 173 does not have, mine has the new start checklist.
It's 178.
178?
178.
Oh, sorry, I printed from the public packet.
And the question I have for City Hall, because I remember we were told, sold a bill of goods before you got into the position of finance director, that we would be paying $26,000 a month for this new City Hall, but to convince council to bite off on it, they were going to be leasing it out to so many folks. And I'm just curious, of this 21,920 square feet in City Hall, that's for Avenue H?
Yes, sir.
And is that for the whole building, or do we have any subtenants?
We have 1 currently.
And does
Brazos Sport
this
Church.
cover their cleaning too?
I believe it covers their large room, but not their individual offices.
Do they have their own cleaning services, or did they just do it themselves?
I think they just do it themselves, yes, sir.
And then, in terms of this particular company, it's out of Houston. A couple of due diligence questions. I actually meant to ask them on the other fuel contract as well. If they were insured and bonded, if that was verified, not just that they provided it in their own packet, but that the phone calls were made to verify that the policies were in good standing.
So before the, so it's all verified before the contracts are signed. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I can't talk. So when we post those RFP packages, if we require a bond, it's stated in there. If we require insurance, it's stated in there, along with our limits. They have to sign their acknowledgement for that. Should they come back and they aren't properly bonded or insured or can't get that way, and we stated that from the beginning, it would be null and void at that point.
And do we do any other background checks in terms of the employees? Because I know City Hall, and I don't know if this is I think actually now it is, every city office or every city facility is secured with a little access badge, right? So are all of their employees, and I don't think just anybody can get beyond the doors, even at City Hall. I don't have my badge, but if I did, I could get in, but any other resident cannot, right? We put those up kind of as a privacy, safety measure.
Yes, sir.
And so, obviously, backgrounds on employees and, trusted staff and council is one thing. But do we do anything to vet who they're hiring so that we don't have anybody that might have a criminal background under their employment in our offices?
So I don't know that legally we can. I believe that would be up to the company to vet it. We would vet the company. They do have their specific requirements for their hiring, or their hiring requirements in their big bid package. And then Toby, the janitors get a shared badge for the company. They each get a badge.
We can do either way. We have full logging for all door access, so it's not even an issue. We have a badge, say they have 3, and they say they lose when I deactivate it. We can see if it's been attempted to use somewhere else. It doesn't matter. We can do as many as we need.
So for the police department, it is done a little differently. Those individuals are required to become CJIS compliant for Criminal Justice Information System. So they do have to take the online course, complete the test, and then also have their fingerprints taken at a fast fingerprint agency where we can subscribe to that, where if they do have any offenses they're arrested for, we get notified.
See, I like that. I'd like that for everybody that's coming behind those doors, for the safety of every employee. Can we require that in the contract? That everybody gets CJIS certified so that fingerprints are taken? I mean, it's always one of those things, if somebody says, no, I don't want it, why not? What do you hide? Yeah.
Yeah, when we get to the, I mean, because this question applies the same to everybody that would, all the possible bidders. So we can talk to them about that in the contract deal. In my experience, most of these companies do have some, policies regarding, background checks and things like that. And we can just require that to be part of the contract. Now, it's not necessary to have the, the CJIS, testing and qualification, but, what else did you have?
I like the fingerprint.
Fingerprints.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we can take their fingerprints if it's not legally required. So anyway, that's something we can look into at the contract phase. But I'm fairly certain that because these are all big companies that have bid. They're not like.
This company specifically contracts with Dow and BASF also, so.
So these are not small mom and pop companies, right? So I would expect they have some process and procedure, and we can just make that a guarantee in the contract that they follow. After we review their procedure and make sure it's cool, then we can put that in the contract. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I can appreciate that they're at other companies, but other companies may not be doing their due diligence, and I want us to be sure that we do ours.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be a terrible excuse to say, well, they were working at other companies too, right? Just so that we say, no, we know who's here and that it's safe. Fingerprints, background checks, and I don't know, maybe for these types of contracts where you have that kind of engagement inside our facilities, that might just be a new rule of thumb for our RFPs. And remind me again, RFP, RFB, and RFQ, the acronyms and the difference?
So your RFB is going to be a request for bid. That's going to be a flat rate price, and you're required to go with the lowest. An RFP is a request for proposal. That's where you are able to take into consideration more of the experience. You're not required to go with the lowest, but more with the best interest. And then the RFQ is going to be for your professional services. Those are going to be bid with no price up front, and prices negotiated after you choose qualifications and experience.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. No further questions.
Council, anyone else? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 4L, consideration and possible action awarding the engagement of real estate representative contract to the Guest Group Incorporated. Ms. Hurst.
Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different than normal because I'm not entirely sure what council's wishes and needs were with the real estate representative. However, we did advertise the RFP number 2025-21 titled Engagement of Real Estate Representative for a contract to provide professional advice related to city-owned real estate. And we advertised that between December 17th, 2025 and January 2nd of 2026. The city did receive one response. The responding firm does have an impressive and collective senior level expertise, as well as relevant project experience that I do think the city would benefit from partnering with. Expenses related to this were not included in the 2025-2026 adopted budget. The highest hourly rate of the firm in their proposal is $225. Because an annual amount is dependent on the current unknown number of billable hours the city would need, we should discuss how it could be appropriated. because we've advertised this a couple times and we've received no responses, I do think it would be beneficial to explore and possibly award the contract to this company, but, you know, open for discussion.
Council, what is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to table it
Motion to table by Councilman Pena.
so that we can get some questions answered for Ms. Hurst.
Is there a second?
Table for discussion.
So you second it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts on this, Mayor.
I agree.
And I want to make sure that we, you know, I'm just curious, was anybody asked about exactly what was needed on council? If not, that's what I want to make sure we have an opportunity to do. I'm happy to have everybody give their opinion on what they deem is feasible. I'm happy to give my professional opinion on what I deem is feasible, what kind of costs we should be incurring, and we can get into all that. But if this is the first time I'm hearing that we didn't know what those parameters were, I think it would be better that we bring this to council where we have that.
I mean, I do understand the purpose. You want someone, because this originated maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, that you wanted someone that would work on these city-owned properties and represent us with the city's best interest to give us advice. Yes,
Yeah.
I understand that part, but I don't know how many projects you have in mind, how
Right.
many properties, how many hours we're looking at being billed.
And that helps to
so-
drive the scope of
Right.
costs and fees
Right.
that are usually on the back end upon sale, not at the front end. So when I saw that billable hourly rate, that raised a big red flag in my mind. So I'd like to go through that. Happy to sit down and outline it one-on-one if any other councilman want to join in that meeting, but I think it's constructive. Happy to help. That's all I have, Mayor.
Council, anyone else have anything to add? I personally feel like there's a lot of unknowns, and I don't want to sign a blank check.
Well, it's very hard. Obviously, I know that we have a respondent company now that, you know, they are qualified, they are senior level, but again, I haven't been in the weeds of exactly what projects or what's going on, so I can tell you, hey, this is a great company.
Right.
Here it is. How would you like to proceed?
Yep. You're just doing your job, and we
Correct.
appreciate that.
So is that something, we talk about that, would be executive session or, you know, something, not today,
No.
but put it on the agenda and it would be,
Yes, it could be put on another agenda
So
to where we
figure
can
out-
get to the nuts and bolts, exactly what we're expecting.
Also, the bids are open, so it is allowable if you wanted to interview with the company or speak with them, any of those things.
Awesome.
And so all of their, I included their whole package, so you have all of their information in there also.
Yeah, it's a good packet.
thank you.
Does council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. So we have a motion to table on the floor by Councilman Pena, second by Councilman Davis. I'll call the vote. All those in favor to table state aye. Aye. All opposed, state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4M, consideration and possible action regarding repayment options for local sales and use tax overpayments of $139,671.50. Ms. Hurst.
Yes, sir. So the finance director received a letter from the state comptroller dated January 14th of 2026. The letter notified the city that an overpayment in local sales and use taxes in the amount of $139,671.50 had occurred. The letter states that the overpayment occurred because a taxpayer initially accrued local sales taxes on items that were later determined by the state auditors to be non-taxable. The state refunded the taxes to that taxpayer, and we are now required to repay the overpaid amount back to the state. The city does share the local sales and use taxes with the Freeport EDC. The city's responsibility for this overpayment is $93,114.34, and the EDC's responsibility of this overpayment is $46,557.16. The letter did list 3 repayment options for consideration. The city could pay by a one-time check or by ACH, and that includes a 2% service fee discount. We could deduct the overpayment on the next monthly payment made to the city, or we can enter into a 75-month payback agreement of monthly deductions of $1,862 for 74 months, with a final deduction of $1,883.50 on the 75th month. Because option 1 does include the 2% discount, which equals $2,793.43, it does reduce the total due from $139,671.50 to $136,878.07. Option 1 would be the most fiscally responsible choice. Although it is rare, overpayments from the state comptroller do happen from time to time. Since the budget was adopted conservatively for the sales tax, it is believed the city will recover this money by the end of the budget year. Staff recommends choosing option 1 for repayment.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to repay the overpayment using option 1.
Councilman Matamoros has made a motion to do the full reimbursement by one-time deposit or check. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Council, any discussion needed on this? Personally, I feel like the budget was conservative, and I too feel like we would be better off cutting a check and just getting it over with.
I have a couple of comments.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the budget was rushed and things were missed, and that continues to be a problem. And so I'm curious, would we know about this had the state not notified us? And I'm also curious, who the hell's auditing this stuff? Isn't that part of their job? Because there's been just a series of whoopsies left and right, and all these damn auditors are absolutely catching nothing. So how, I want to make sure that I express that sentiment because it needs to be said. And then the questions I have is, who's auditing this? Who's going to be responsible for this type of error in the future? Is it our finance director, our city manager, our auditors? I'm just trying to understand, where does the buck stop and start on this thing?
Okay, so this is not a error or anything to do with the city. What it is that, and we had this happen in previous years. So what happens is your business, businesses pay their sales tax to the state, right? And then whenever they pay their sales taxes, then the state sends that money to us, and we actually get the check. But the business can then, even though they pay up front, they can appeal with the comptroller and say, hey, we paid all the taxes, but not all of those sales taxes were due. Some of it was like wholesale. We just to be safe, because they don't want to pay any penalties, right? So they don't, it takes time to do the protest. So they'll just pay, okay, we owe, $200,000 in sales tax. We'll give it the $200,000 up front, and then that comes to the city. But then the business appeals and said, well, really, we only had to pay $100,000 in sales tax because half of our sales were retail and half of it was really a wholesale transaction. So then the state will review that, and they'll tell the company, yeah, you're right. You paid more sales tax than you were supposed to. So then the state pays that individual business back, and then it contacts the city and say, hey, we overpaid you. You got to pay us money back. So it's nothing inside of our accounting system.
Okay.
It's just the sales tax figures, and the appeals that are done by businesses. And I can't remember, it was some years ago, I remember with the EDC, we had a high amount of sales tax that we had to pay back. And it's a similar situation. And I don't remember, I just remember in that, it was a situation of inventory, and was it a wholesale sales or was it retail sales and that kind of thing that the company. Now, it would be kind of interesting to know, where, which business it came from, and, just so we know a little bit better, we can maybe anticipate, right? It's like, okay, well, this business, they often have wholesale sales, and so, but I mean, we really have no part in this decision at all. It all comes from the comptroller's office, from the state.
Well, from staff, finance director and the city attorney, and with those details there, that makes sense. That's not on the part of the city in any way being failed or failing. So, good. But the next question, though, becomes, if we pay this back in one lump sum, is there going to be any belt tightening that's going to be required for this, or is there enough in the budget, all things considered, to make that check?
I
clear it?
believe there's enough that we're going to make that up by the end of the year.
So it's not in the budget now in terms of a surplus, or for that matter, just the cushion in our, we can't pull it off of a savings account that we have to just pay this?
No, sir, we need to pay it out of the sales tax line item.
Okay. And so that one there is input and output every month, is that right? Or
Yes,
is it
sir.
quarterly?
Yep, monthly, yes, sir.
And we're able to absorb that dollar amount, 136?
The city would be absorbing if we.
Excuse me,
if-
the 91?
Yes, sir,
Yeah. So we're able to absorb that
out of that same line item.
without having any detriment to any of our other departments and systems and,
Correct.
okay. That satisfies me. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think this is as uncommon as what people might think, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the second or third time that I've gone through this same thing. Council, any other questions or comments on this?
Thanks for bringing this forward.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, we will call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Miss Diane Parker. We went 5-0 all the way. Although we're not finished, we do still have one, and that's when we adjourn. And yeah, believe it or not, that might be when it comes up. Okay. So, before we get there, we're going to go into work session. Councilman Pena, Ward A.
Thank you. I wrote some notes here. As usual, thank you, everybody that came forward and spoke out. Believe it or not, your comments and your awareness of what's going on in the city make Freeport just a little bit better. And maybe we can get to the best ever. So, Mr. Cool, thank you for speaking out and speaking up consistently and persistently. And it's my hope that the residents are able to navigate those streets that much safer, and that the residents that live in that neighborhood, have children there, feel safer. We hope for that. I'm glad that we're moving in that direction. I had my list. Let me go to the front. As mentioned earlier, there was an issue on the trash, and so I'll go ahead and bring it up here during workshop. And I don't know if we need to contact and communicate with AmeriWaste to, I think the last time we talked about this, Jerry, you had actually said you had some complaints, and then they actually came out, right after you had complained, they came out the next day,
They came out that night.
or that night. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what the remedy is here for the holidays and stuff. On one hand, you want people to not have to work on holidays too, but if that's part of the service agreement, we hope that it's not a week-long wait, so trash piles up unfairly to those residents that are served on that holiday. So I don't know, do we need to communicate with them to make sure that it doesn't go a whole week without the pickup?
I'll review their contract and see what their requirements are. If they are required to pick it up, I will contact them. I am in one of those wards that
Yeah.
gets picked up on a Monday. If they're not required to pick it up, or if the 19th, or the 17th, or the 16th, whatever that holiday is not one of the recognized holidays, I will also let you know that as well.
I appreciate it, thank you. Yeah, and then I'll just, let the residents know. Again, I'm just always trying to echo what I'm being told and having a bent ear to. Another thing that came up was, I had residents complaining that there are a lot of stray dogs, and that they don't have a problem seeing police patrolmen, but they have a problem never seeing animal control. And I thought we had either one or two animal control officers. I don't remember. One? And I don't know what their route is, but it would be nice to have a big button at the homepage of the city website. I'm liking this button idea, where it's like animal control, help a lost dog, help a lost cat, help a lost possum and raccoons. The snakes and the alligators, I don't care about. But we did have an alligator in downtown, and we've had snakes downtown, at the beach, on the road to the beach. So what's the process now? How does somebody reach out to get a dog? If there's a running dog down 2nd Street. There was a German Shepherd on the loose for a while downtown. That was a beautiful one, actually.
So, we have our one animal control officer. She is both proactive and reactive. So she does do, if you will, patrol for animals, any that she sees at large, she goes ahead and collects. But then also any citizen can contact dispatch.
So it's just a dispatch call?
And so, yes, just the main number to the PD, they contact dispatch, and then dispatch will send her to that location.
Oh, that's great.
So, I mean, on average, between dogs and cats, she generally collects over 100 a month between the combination of the two.
3 a day.
So, yeah, if you look on the monthly report for the PD, I put like the number on there. And so probably her lowest month would be, in the 50s, but, she has several months done over 100.
Well, I could tell you, what was her name?
Her name's Shauna Burton.
Yeah, and she's been here for a while, right?
She left for a little bit and then she came back. And
She
so
has-
when I came here, she wasn't here anymore, but she came back.
Well, I could tell you, she is really good with
She
animals.
is wonderful.
I've seen her in action, and that's the right person.
She just assisted with the SPCA on doing the vaccine clinic there at the park as well, and they rant and raved about her as well, so.
Was that your hire?
I'm sorry?
Was that your hire?
Well, I hired her back.
Yeah,
And
good.
so-
I'm glad she's back.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll let the residents know it's dispatch. Another question I had here, I'm curious what the permit process is for a dumpster. You have residents here that are trying to either clean up their houses or their trees or their backyards or their garages, or buying homes that have old furniture in them, and they're trying to get rid of those. And I'm just curious what the permit process for them to have a large dumpster permitted. I got some feedback that there was being told no, that they couldn't dump their trash into a dumpster unless they had an engineer look at the house and have a permit and this, that, and the other. And I was like, what? So I thought I'd bring that up and ask that question.
I'll find out.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on the whole water drainage that was brought up. And do we have an idea on what those numbers were that Mr. Julian had spoke about? On the Veolia component, yeah. Thank you for sticking around for this question.
So tomorrow, I'm going to meet with him. Can you hear me? So tomorrow, I'm going to meet with him. We're going to go over everything. I'm going to bring Eddie down, which is our SME for Veolia, and we're going to walk through it. He's going to explain to exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It was a little bit, I couldn't really understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
So Eddie is bilingual, so
Yeah.
we're going to go out there and walk, and I have an answer for you once we finish the walkthrough.
Yeah, I know that I've asked him to call me as well, so I'm happy to be there as well.
Yeah, he has my phone number, you as well.
Just for full disclosure for the public, Mr. Julian had provided a set of pictures on Velasco at 10th and 11th that showed the manholes overflowing over the last rainstorm. And so, what he also told me, I don't know if he got with you on this, but there was a lot of black water coming up in people's homes.
Okay.
And so that's highly concerning. I thought those days were behind us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're still here. Are you aware that we have black water in
No,
coming up
sir.
in homes?
This is mind you, only been here for 4 weeks, so.
Right.
That's my first time hearing of it. And I know it was a lot of rain when all that was going on.
Yeah.
So it could be on the resident side, I'm not sure, but that's what I want to go check out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to come out and explain it and everything, so I have detail once I walk through with him.
Well, I know when we had that storm, Mayor sent out a photo of the drainage, and was that pump, did that pump get, I guess, attended to make sure that it was operating as it was intended to operate?
You're talking about the storm pumps? Yes, those were manned and operating as expected.
So I'm just curious, are we under-engineered? Are we being inundated that our systems are not able to sufficiently support the storm demands?
Yeah.
Is that your estimation at this point?
So,
Or is this too early to tell?
well, it's too early to tell right now. I haven't even looked at it, assessed nothing, so I can't answer that question right
Yeah,
now.
I don't want to
Sorry.
ask any unfair questions, but yeah,
Yes, sir.
that'd be interesting to learn and figure out what the problem is and a working solution.
Yes, sir. Mind you, I mean, the area that he's in, like you said, there's only one pump over there.
Mm-hmm.
I can only operate what I'm given, the equipment that I'm given.
I
So
understand.
even if he wants 2 pumps, I can't give him 2 pumps because I have to get authorization from the city.
I see.
Yeah.
I know that we had a pump issue or a flooding issue over there on Front Street where Miss Dancy was, and we had put a pump there because her house was getting flooded. I remember Public Works doing that, and I just wasn't sure. Is that something that's common, that we would just put a pump for a stopgap
So
solution?
the only time we can put a pump there if another pump goes out. So we're not just gonna put a pump there because a resident might want a pump, you know. I understand something might be going on, and a lot of times it could be on the resident side. We've had a couple of those issues today. Matter of fact, I just got a call from one of my guys dealing with that same situation where it was a backup, and the resident thought it was us, but it was really them. So, you know, we gotta assess the situation, and then we're able to provide more detail and execute as needed.
Awesome, I appreciate the responses.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, my first time coming up here, so Mayor, Council, I'm supposed to address y'all first, my apologies.
You answered the questions. That's the most important part.
Thank you, sir. The other question I had was what Mr. Rollerson had brought up about the water permit. What was that, what water permit are we out of compliance with? Does anybody know?
In listening to him speak, I think he was referring to a water permit that Dow has to dump into the river. It's not our permit.
Okay. So it's not under our jurisdiction?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. I'm also curious here, it was brought to my attention about the recent announcement in public press release from Dow about 3,400 layoffs. And I'm just curious, is there any response from the city in terms of any kind of economic incentives the EDC is proactively trying to provide to help bridge that gap? Do we have any communication from the city to help or to understand what the job market might actually, what that might mean? I mean, if Dow is the, as they say, the canary in the coal mine, are we going to expect a lot of losses in other industries and plants here? Because I know we're in the middle of these industrial tax negotiations, and I'm just wondering how that's going to be a variable in those discussions.
Sure. So the information that we have received so far is that it's a global cutback, and numbers specific to Freeport have not been remotely identified yet.
Okay.
So they are keeping in communication with us, and as soon as they know, they will provide us with that information. But it's just too early to assess if there's going to be any impact to.
And we have regular contact and communication with their executive staff for the city?
Yes.
Wonderful. Does the EDC also have that kind of that kind of dialogue on a regular basis that we're aware of?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I know that it was brought up on headline news on the Houston Chronicle, as well as the local media outlets, I should say. So that's why I wanted to ask. It was asked of me. I also was curious where we stood on the 25 acres and the TPW, if that can be spoken about here in open session or if that needs to be an executive session. The 25 acres off of 2nd Street. And, if there was any progress or any feedback from TPMW.
I believe that's a question for legal.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I have no new news on that yet.
Thank you, Mr. Legal. I think Mr. Rollinson was also talking to tax abatements. What tax abatements are currently, is that a component of this industrial tax discussion as well, tax abatements?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's my understanding that the county sets the abatements, not the city itself.
Okay. You know, it's important that the city doesn't get unfairly vilified. And I'm happy to make sure that we help to set the record straight so that we're not punished or beat up on issues. I mean, a perfect example was my defensiveness or, you know, to the whole idea about those sales tax. What did we do? You know, I was glad to hear that it wasn't us. It's outside of our purview. And so it's important that in addition to exposing any kind of failures, but it's also important to clarify for the record what we're doing right and what the city's doing right. And so I appreciate what the executive staff is doing to make the city that much more transparent and, for that matter, working effectively and efficiently. The other question I have is, where are we on that lease for the current city hall? How much time do we have left on that thing? I thought it was a 3-year lease.
It expires in 2027.
Yeah.
Don't know the exact month. May 2027.
And it was my understanding that there was supposed to be some subleases promised by the landlord, and I'm just wondering if that has been honored.
I'll have to check.
Okay. And then, in addition to that, part of the reason was the work that needed to be done in downtown. I know that we had the Covarrubias lawsuit because they made away with $345,000 that we're trying to recover still. But we had approved a budget to renovate that building, the old city hall. I think it was for $1.3 million. And so I'm just wondering at some point how we're going to, if that money was put aside for that why aren't we going moving forward with it, the 345. Surely we can move forward with the other 965, or 955 rather, and I'd like to see that on the next agenda for a discussion. And I know Mr. Rollison had also mentioned, hey, listen, we have all these incentives and giveaways to, as we just clarified, it's not on our side of the ledger. But I've called for, a housing department, a residential department. I'm glad that we're looking at having this realtor represent the city for its properties, but I'm really interested in making sure that we have an office, whether it's, and I'm not even asking that it's a city employee, maybe we donate office to the county Section 8 offices so that they have a presence here in Freeport, because with the poverty line being predominantly what the residents of Freeport are at or below, I think it's something like at 60%, 63%. It makes no sense that we don't have any Section 8 housing guidance, any affordable housing guidance, or anybody quarterbacking that in a full-time manner. And that includes senior housing. We have a lot of seniors by virtue of a really robust senior committee that is only growing. Not because there's more people becoming seniors, it's because the seniors are becoming more involved because Winston's making it fun. So I don't know if we need to put that on the next agenda, or if that's guidance, or how we go about that going forward, but I certainly want to echo the sentiment that that is a need that the city of Freeport direly needs to address. And I appreciate Ms. Oldham bringing up the IDAs, and I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we are in fact negotiating those. And when do we expect to have those finalized, those negotiations?
In the next several months.
Yeah.
The agreement with Dow that's currently under negotiation expires in December, so we have
Some
time. Yeah.
Wonderful. Bear with me here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The fourplex, fiveplex, I know that we came about this before, or this came about when we were talking about all of the ordinances for code and building. And if there's some things that seem counterproductive or really doesn't fit a smaller multifamily, and that's more fit for a larger apartment complex, I'm all for safety and cleanliness and making sure that people have homes that are above grade, that they can live and rent here in Freeport. But at the same time, it's a delicate balance, right? Because we're not supposed to dictate the market. That's not government housing. She's not government housing, I don't believe. I don't think she expressed that she was on Section 8 or anything else. But if she is on Section 8, she actually has a higher standard than most cities have to abide by. Because Section 8 has their own set of rules for inspections so that the landlords can be a part of that program. But I want to make sure that we're not penalizing any of our landlords or investors who want to come to Freeport to remodel and renovate or build new for multifamily housing, senior housing, affordable housing. And so I'd like for us to take a look at what she was addressing as it relates to those locks, and the safety, that kind of. Did I hear her wrong that she said that she has to report that to us? That seemed like a crazy rule.
I did ask Chief Al to get her contact information, which she texted to me, so I do plan on talking with her to find out exactly what the concerns are and the documentation she's referring to.
That's awesome. Thank you. I'm glad that she didn't just come up here and everybody just kind of nodded and she went home. Thank you. That's your city at work right there. Thank you. I mean it. Hopefully she won't have to come back 4 months in a row. We got good people in place. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. I touched on the permit process for the trash removal, the holidays, just going through my list here, the speeding. The other thing I had, and we talked about at the last meeting, I'd like to put on the agenda the discussion for the cell phone usage during the city council meetings. I only have 3 others. I'll try to be brief, especially if I don't find it. Bear with me. 15, here it is. Oh, yeah, I touched on the speeding at 7th and 8th on Walnut. So look at that, and also the intersection on, whatchamacallit, Velasco and Avenue A. As we were talking about before, Jerry, I remember you and I were like high-fiving at the time to say, hey, man, those reflectors make a big difference on the bridge. You could see actually the lanes.
For a short amount of time, though.
Yeah, for a very short amount of time. No, all kidding aside, it's such a low-cost safety measure. We ended up doing it downtown at all the intersections because people were flying by stop signs. And I can't help to believe that it wouldn't be just as effective all the way down 2nd Street because, as I was told, with Velasco Boulevard from Gulf to 36, when those markings are, when it's dark and rainy, those markings aren't visible. But if you have new reflectors on there, those are always visible. And I'm thinking, shoot, 2nd Street, what are the other highways in Freeport? 4th Street, the other highway is 8th Street. I mean, people treat them like it's a major thoroughfare. And so I'm just kind of curious, you know, what that cost would be compared to all these stop signs and everything else.
I was actually just going to ask you to repeat the first intersection you mentioned. I was typing up something else, and so I missed what you said, and I wanted to.
7th and 8th and Walnut.
7th, 8th, and Walnut? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
They did. They're still there. They're working great, still. Cheap, long-lasting, durable, and very safe. The last thing I had here, bear with me. I promise you I'm not having a moment of non-clarity. Bear with me. Yeah, I wanted to touch on, you know, everybody's comments up here. There's a lot of jokes that go around, but there's a lot of serious matters that go around here too. And I just want to make sure that I set the record straight on that. I don't know any relationship, a marriage or friendship or sibling, much less a city council or any other public board, where you're going to agree all the time. I want to see a hand. I don't think there's ever been a hand raised when the question is, does any marriage always agree? There's not a single one. So don't put that on us. It's not cute. It's not funny, truly, because what's really going on are some very serious, highly consequential, legal, and safe and financial matters. That it's not about just a matter of disagreement. There is bona fide corruption, bona fide illegalities, and there is no disagreement on that. And there never has been, because the receipts don't lie. The numbers have never lied. And to the notion that nobody wants to volunteer because I'm on council, we just got 2 new volunteers on the Senior Citizen Board. I got the receipts of other people messaging me saying, man, we would love to be on the board, just this week, because of the initiatives that I'm trying to promote for more transparency, for more integrity in our offices, both at City Hall and on our boards and on council. But I want to make sure that everybody understands this. I'm your next door neighbor. I don't go about any of this for any other reason other than I really want Freeport to be the best Freeport ever. That means in the streets, at the beach, in City Hall, at our police department, in our schools, at every corner, at every angle you can think of, in our air and in our water. And I appreciate that Ms. Oldham and Mr. Rollerson come out here promoting clean air and clean water. Nobody doesn't want the opposite. We can be prudent, we can figure out a way forward, but I could tell you this, just because I'm not on council, I should tell you this, that I am on council, so it allows me to see certain things before the public does. And what do? I expose it. But I'm asking all these questions. You might say, well, it's long-winded. No, I have a lot of questions. And I'm going to have a lot of questions just like every other resident that's here that comes out. And that's never going to stop. And in fact, my hands are a little tied as a councilman. So I'm not going anywhere, number one. And I'm going to continue asking tons of questions to making sure that there's no situation where the cat's away and the mice will play. Because once we lose oversight, once we lose transparency and accountability, that's when the corruption begins and festers. We got to tend to this garden, because then the weeds will grow if we don't. And then the rats will come if we don't. And who eats the rats? The snakes. So we don't need a garden, we don't need a city full of weeds, rats, and snakes. Not on my watch. Not while I'm a resident of Freeport. And if I'm so lucky to serve as a councilman in the future again, which I don't really plan on doing, not on my watch then either. So I wanted to make sure that I clarified that for everybody. It's no joking matter. We have a very serious matter on our hands. As you know, there's a petition that I am espousing, that I was getting a lot of feedback and support from the residents because of the information that came out about the mayor and Madam Morris, and their participation and coordination and cooperation and communication with Lance Petty and his attorney, which is why I've asked for him to resign and have a recall. And that's very serious. I don't do it because I don't like any of these individuals. I actually can work with anybody who doesn't like me. And there's a lot of them. Councilman Davis was one. For a good year and a half. I'm not even sure if he really likes me still, but he did help to save my life, to be aware that there was a murder and kidnap plot against me. But all kidding aside, I don't need anybody to like me to help us all to do the right thing. And I wanted to make sure that I've said this before and I'll repeat it again. If you can't hold your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, or yourself accountable, you do not belong in public service, period. A Marine on duty, as I recently heard this phrase and was taught by Ms. Kelly, has no friends. Neither does a truth teller, neither does a whistleblower. And I'm going to continue to do so to make sure the public knows exactly what's going on. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ward B, Councilman Davis.
Well, good evening. I think I'm gonna have to write down my workshop next time. I forgot what I was gonna say. But we have been informed tonight. Councilman Pena asked a lot of questions that, maybe a lot of people wanted to get clarification on some things that went on throughout the meeting tonight. First of all, I know I want to say once again, thank y'all for coming out. You got a faithful few that stay here till the end. We want to thank y'all for the volunteers that came out tonight. I've already said it, but we want to make sure we say it again. We thank y'all. We have a full senior citizens board now. We have a full beautification board now, and so I think we got a nice group of ladies. We're gonna get ready to get to work. Get ready to get to work. It's been a lot going on this week, but I wasn't gonna mess with that. But just want to clarify, one thing. I'm sorry, but sometimes you sit back and if you don't say nothing, you agree with, what's going on. And so as Pena was saying, if these guys were on testify in the Lance Petty trial, so we want to make clarification. That was an unemployment trial. So I just want to be clear on my part. You know, I was on the phone call, so, you know, they did take an oath to testify for Lance Petty against the city in that trial. That wasn't the $1 million trial. So, I mean, I do have to clarify that, but it's still, it was a case that, you know, Freeport was going in against Lance Petty, and that did happen. And so, just wanted to clarify that. I was on the phone call, you know, so but we want to make sure that, now that could lean into the $1 million lawsuit, but that wasn't that. That was the unemployment, and Freeport did come out on top on that, and we don't have to pay Mr. Petty unemployment because he was fired with cause. So that was the outcome on that. So just wanted to clear that up. I think people are getting kind of, I don't know. That I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm done. I'm done.
Ward C, Councilman Matamoros.
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Kelly, I've had quite a few more residents complain about AmeriWaste now going back that you can no longer use a personal trash can. They used to pick up trash in a personal trash can for the beginning of this entire contract, and now they're stating, no, we're no longer going to do it. So we need to find out why they're now changing their tune. I do know it states in the contract bags, but they started at the very beginning picking it up in a personal trash can, and now they decided, nope, we're no longer going to do that. So if we can get some clarification as to why they stopped that.
I can ask them definitely, but the contract specifically states that they will only pick up the authorized cans. So there's no way for me to hold their feet to the fire on a handshake or a verbal if there's not something in writing.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Also, just like to state that the issues with the overflowing drainage is not just one side, it's in the entire city. Had the same issues on my side of town when we did have that heavy rain. So it is something that we need to look into as a city. And then the last thing, I wasn't going to state anything, but I am now. There's so many falsehoods being spewed out on social media. Any resident who has a question, come and talk to me. I'll tell you exactly what you need to hear. It's the truth. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not against the city. I was asked to give a testimony. I don't have a clue as to what I was going to give a testimony to. It could have been, hey, were you at the meeting? No, I was not. Done. I have zero clue as to what I was going to testify about.
Baloney.
So anybody stating I'm against the city
It's true.
is a liar
True.
and doesn't know what they're talking about. So that's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, sir.
So the area that you're talking about, what section is that?
So it was actually Avenue M-N-O queue. Everybody was having issues when the heavy rains just before the cold front came through.
Okay.
The sewer system was just overwhelmed, and most people could not flush toilets, couldn't do things like that.
Okay.
So it's probably a citywide issue just because of all the incursions of old lines that we have and things like that. But it's something that we definitely need to get addressed. It well precedes your time here. So
Okay.
look forward to working with you, and hopefully we can get these issues, some solutions started in place.
Yes, sir. We did have a situation where one of our breaker boxes had tripped and blew out. I'm sorry. One of our breaker boxes that tripped and blew out, and I started a actual group chat with Dr. Kelly and with Nick to kind of keep them updated on the repairs. So as we was doing the repairs, I was kind of letting them know the progress and process what we were doing. But I'm not sure. Like, I'm still trying to get familiar with the zoning. So that might be your area, because it was down for probably about maybe an hour and a half, but we were working until almost 6, 7 o'clock at night trying to get everything restored.
Yeah, so I'm Ward C, so I'm the area which would be north of 288 or Brazosport Boulevard, and then north all the way past like your Avenue O and all that.
Yes, sir.
Well, F through T.
You're by the water tower, right? Because I remember we put a generator.
Well, that's also a part of my ward, yes. But the issues, they were having issues as well, not as bad, but the issues that I'm speaking about, the Stephen F. Austin area,
Okay.
that's where it was really bad.
Yes, sir.
So,
All right. Well, I'll make sure it gets addressed. Like I said, I've been here for 4 weeks, and I'm still trying to get everything structured and still trying to understand a lot of things, but I'm doing the best I can to make sure everything is addressed, though.
yes, sir. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hold on. Yes, sir.
Councilman Rosso, Ward D.
Uh-oh, this not good. Uh-oh.
I'm gonna start out where I was gonna end up, since you're up there.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for Viola?
So I am the site leader for Veolia.
For all the people?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
For Freeport.
And what's your name?
My name is Javance Dawson.
Yvonne?
Javance.
Javon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Javon, I would like for you guys to service all the fire hydrants in the city of Freeport.
Yes, sir.
Flush them out. Whatever you guys do, I've brought it to myself to stay on top of you guys on the fire hydrants. All the fire hydrants that don't work, someone needs to be in charge of the fire hydrants.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether it's one individual or a crew of individuals, but someone needs to be in charge of that. And there should be a log. There should be paperwork showing that this one was checked and this one was checked. It doesn't seem like a hard thing for me, but I know it's not being done. In other words, I'd like to see it. I don't ever remember it being done.
Yes, sir. So I can't address the past, but I do want to say my background is project management. I've built wastewater construction plants at Dow in Freeport and Amy Global in Freeport as well. So I am building a schedule right now, Nick and myself, Nick Meeks. And actually, I had the guys dispersed this morning to go out and look at the fire hydrants. Also, we have a fire hydrant on Avenue F, if I'm not mistaken, and that takes special attention. A year and a half ago, we had a situation where it was a safety concern, so I have to get a subcontractor to come out and look at that. But we do have a spreadsheet going on, and it was dated 1/15 when we started it, and this morning I had my entire team to go out and disperse those fire hydrants. So it's getting addressed. It's getting addressed. I mean, like I said, I can't respond for the past, but I know now that I'm here, that's one of my top priorities.
Okay, well, I want to be able to see it.
Yes, sir.
I want to be able to see a log of you guys checking those things, like periodically.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what y'all are doing now, but I'd like to be able to see what you guys are doing.
Yes, sir. Just let you know, it is a part of our contract. We do have to have a certain percentage checked. So it is being tracked. I'm tracking it myself, and we do have a log, and I'm willing to share that with anybody that wants to see
Yeah,
it.
you can share it with me.
Yes, sir.
No, I'll get your card.
So I don't have any cards right now, but I'm willing to give out my phone number. I mean, half y'all got my personal and my
I'll give you
number.
I'll give you one of my cards
Yes, sir.
tonight.
Yes, sir.
And then you can contact me.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out, everybody out there in cyber world, you that's still up. I go places and they know me, people know me. I've been in Missouri County all my life, and they like that one lady was saying how we're kind of comical, but at the same time, we mean business. We mean business up here, and y'all didn't elect me to be your friend, and I'm not looking for friends. I don't need friends. I'm 73 years old. I don't need any friends. I got all the friends I need. If you have a problem or if you have a concern, I've said it for the last 2 or 3 years that you contact me, and I'll get on it. I promise you, I'll get on it. I'm so glad to see the senior citizen back in order. I'm glad to see that. We got 2 new people, so we got a quorum. So we can start back having our meetings, and we have a lot of fun. We really do. We went to see the Astros this year, and we went on a I call it a cruise. It was a paddle boat there in Brazoria. Those were the fun trips. We have fun all the time in those meetings. Bingo and food, and I like to see old people happy. Just like I like to see kids happy. I like to hear kids laugh. That's one of my favorite things. Martin Luther King was so successful. Freeport looked really, really good on the 19th of, I think it was the 19th of, it's always the third Monday of the month. We got so many good reviews from people from everywhere, from all out of town. That park was full of people. Everybody sold out. The parade was awesome. The banquet was nice. MLK looked really, really good, and I'm so glad that Freeport is a part of it, and I'm so glad that I'm a part of it also. So thank you Freeport for putting on a venue like that. We call it a festival. Thank you for all that you did this past MLK Day. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. I too would like to thank everybody that showed up tonight, and we still have quite a few that have actually stuck through this evening. I thank y'all. Thank you for those that are out listening on YouTube or whatever it is we're broadcasting on these days. Looking forward to the daddy-daughter dance coming up Friday. I've been voluntold that I'm going, and I am so excited. I know my 7-year-old, she is ready to go. So I hope to see a lot of folks out there. Miss Oldham came up here to talk tonight in a little different tone than I think what we're used to. And she brought a real good message. She had mentioned that she was visiting, I think you said, your son, who watches our meetings from afar and noticed a few things that are kind of particular to this council, as well as to the citizens that usually come up and speak. And she had brought up a real good point that, don't try not to just come up here and criticize and chastise and raise hell, as some of them would say. Bring a solution with you. It might not be the solution that gets used, but it might get the ball rolling. Mr. Cool has been talking about this intersection for 3 months, and instead of just coming up and griping and complaining, he said, hey, this would be a good place for a four-way stop. Okay, so lo and behold, the wheels in government do spin slow, but we went through the proper procedures. We got the study done, came back, we brought it to council, and lo and behold, it does need a four-way stop. So we're going to get one there. Okay, so I encourage positive conversation at all times. I know in the real world, not all conversations are positive, but we can do better. And thank you for bringing that up. Now, the elephant in the room. Just like Councilman Matamoros said, anybody has a question, ask me. I will tell you the honest answer. If you want to know why I voted to paint all houses in Freeport red, ask me. I will give you the answer. Okay. We might not agree upon the answer, but I will give you the honest answer. Last meeting, Councilman Matamoros made a comment that he did not testify in the case with Lance Petty. Okay. I'm going to put on the record that I did not testify. I was asked to participate if I wanted to participate. I did show up on a call, but I did not testify. And, there's a lot of talk out there about the fact that Lance Petty is suing the city for multi-millions of dollars. Okay. I must remind you of why he is suing the city for multi-millions of dollars. And it is because of the way he was fired. Okay. I voted against firing Mr. Petty in the way that he was fired. Not because I was trying to protect the man, not because I felt like ultimately that wasn't going to be the answer. I voted no to keep us from being in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with the man.
That's baloney. That did not happen.
So, With that being said, that's a little bit on the record to try to cut down some of the rhetoric that is being spewed out there.
Not true.
100% true.
That's spin.
Dr. Kelly.
Yes, thank you. In an effort to honor Ms. Oldham's request to speak of something positive, I just want everybody to save the date, March 18th, 10 o'clock. We have a wastewater treatment plant ribbon cutting. It will be online. It's in testing right now. If you've never been to a wastewater treatment plant ribbon cutting, it's not as fun as going to a bakery ribbon cutting. And please, whoever's putting this together, I've been to one before and they served food. I'm begging you, please, don't serve food. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. With that, it is now, what time is it officially? 9:10. We are going to end our regular session and go into executive session. Executive session regarding Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, to A, or 1, discuss industrial district agreements, and 2, discuss Surfside water billing updates.